Welcome back to the only show that breaks down, cracks up, skews, and reviews each week's DC Comics. I'm the bureaucratic space dinosaur, Eric Shea.
And I'm Jim Warner.
And this is the Weird Science DC Comics Podcast, episode number 488.
488 or 489, my friend Eric
88.
Shea, because last week we were Patreon only, and I believe that might have been the 88. Am I not mistaken, or am I completely off base there?
Well, honestly, I went and checked iTunes to see what wasn't there. I thought I jumped ahead, but maybe I thought to myself, hey, the next one's not there, but I still went with it anyway.
Maybe
but I'm pretty sure
wrong now, because I ended up writing a deal. I'm checking right now the deal here. This is fun stuff, isn't it? It is 88, Eric. You are correct. So if anybody's wondering where 487 is, that was a Patreon-only show last week. And go to patreon.com/Weird Science, and check that on out. We ended up talking about two books, right? Detective Comics and the Power Girl special, and ended up being almost 3 hours.
And our Mount Rushmore of comic creators, or DC comic creators more specifically.
We did that as well. And so we're here, and just to keep pushing that old Patreon, if you were going to be wondering where such things like The Flash number 800 or Steelworks number 1 is, that'll be over at the Patreon as well.
The beginning of a mini. And the celebration of Wally West.
Yes, an end of an era, the Jeremy Adams era, Eric. It wasn't that long an era, but still.
You say that. I keep hearing you say the end of an era. I'm like, are you throwing shade at Jeremy Adams?
It might have been at the start of an era, I think, with old Cy Spurrier, which, that's just me, Eric. But I actually was laughing, and this kind of is a segue into something that I was laughing about today. About the idea that when you started getting me inspired to get into comics, and I actually jumped on the New 52, and you weren't anything. You wanted no parts about it.
Not on my watch.
But then I would like to think that my enthusiasm then sparked you, right? And you ended up going and getting, but you also were getting Superior Spider-Man at that point, right? You were dipping your toe, and at that point, I think you would have told me that you kind of enjoy old Cy Spurrier. Maybe one of your favorites at that point. I'm just saying, Eric, because he was the one doing Six Gun Gorilla that you were collecting.
I was collecting. I don't think I finished collecting, though.
No, I don't think you did. At one point, I think
there's a book called Six Gun Gorilla. This has to be good.
It was actually decent. I read it as well. I think that if I remember right, I think Tony, the comic show, he couldn't get an issue or something, and there was a problem, so you just stopped reading it and dropped it. Quite like the Colossus death, Eric, back in the day that stopped.
That wasn't Tony's fault. That was Marvel's fault.
But yeah, that was coming in the mail. But with all of that, it just made me laugh because I was just thinking about some things and how we got into the comics and stuff. And just remembered, oh my God, that was Cy Spurrier that was doing that Six Gun Gorilla that me and you left. You got Six Gun Gorilla just like I got Frankenstein Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Damn right.
That ended up being a little better, I think. But it was the title, and it made us giggle just saying the title and giggling to each other. But again, if you want to listen to The Flash number 800 and Steelworks number 1, that was picked by the badasses of the Get Fresh crew. And they ended up having that. It's a big book, The Flash 800. We ended up talking a lot about it. And yeah, it was an episode over there that was almost 2 hours. It's about an hour and 45 minutes long. So if you want to go and listen to me and Eric, wax poetic about those, and maybe Eric finding out that he still can't have fun with things. I think we're going to have that again tonight.
Blind optimism for you. That's all it is.
With all that, again, go over and help us out at the Weird Science Patreon, patreon.com/Weird Science. But other places that you can go and check us out is on Twitter at Weird Science DC, and go to our website, WeirdScienceDCComics.com, to get all those reviews, right, Eric? Wink, wink. But we're going to move to where I like to go. And where I like to go, Eric, is the badass roll call. Here we go.
Since when?
I like to make you laugh where I fumble through. This is what I like. Plus, I get fired up almost like the Fat Boys, and I want to rap at the beginning. Here we go. Stephen Bat-Dad Mitchell, Brian Trevitt, Dad Nation. Yeah, y'all. Eric K., Jeffrey Greek, Zach Walker, The Annihilator, Ted Probst, I Love Punchline, Stork, Michael S., Cam, Matt Razor, D-Man 3000, Niels T. Ward, David Fink, Stephen Baum, Jason Colby, Sue42 to you and me, Michael G., Ken Halleck, Comic Boom Rocky, And then we have what I'm going to go and call a little bit of an audible, Eric. We have the Irish person, B.O. Problem. What do you think of that, Eric? Do you like B.O. Problem? Because if things were changed, I didn't reload it since I started. So Mark Jager, Bill Beer from the Bat Pod, Ruben, Carlos, No Wolf Marv, Matt Rapier, his kid's still a big Mirror Master fan, Luke Hollywood, Simon, Luis, Manship, Andrew in Belfast, Swanee, Anthony G, Josh Million, Batman Beyond Mark, B. Murr, Brandy Murray up there in Buffalo and Doxing, Double A Ron in Minnesota, Bing Bang Boom, Eric. That went swimmingly, as they say. And also a little shout out, or a big shout out to all-time greats Rob Lewis and Reginald Drinkwater. We miss them daily. So that is that. And Eric, we had a lot of crazy things happen this week, but we're going to get on to the books. I'm going to surprise you, Eric. And we're just going to get out of here. We're going to go right to the books. We have 6 books. I like to call that a plethora. And it's kind of cool to be back on the regular feed here, get all fired up, Eric. All these great things. We got the Batmans and the Supermans and the Shazams.
This sounds sarcastic. What are you doing right now?
I don't know. I don't feel so great today. I'm a little bit wacky today. I'm a little fired up. I'm excited to do this show. It's been a little bit, sometimes you need a fire lit under your ass, Eric, right? To get you pumped up and fired up. And that's what I got. But here we go. We're going to go off to the books. Fires? I don't know. Some arsonist that's around here. I'm sure one of my kids is into that. But here we go. We're going to get to the books right about now. I do want to give a shout out. I meant to do this in the beginning, but you had me flustered, Eric, as you always do.
Sorry.
And I forgot all about giving this shout out. And what it is, it was a Apple Podcast review. And we got excited about it because it's a 5-star review, Eric. Who would thunk it in? And it's from Lights Out 122, who ended up saying, a great DC podcast, Eric. Jim and Eric always provide a great experience covering DC Comics. They consistently add humor to each discussion, which heightens the podcast. And I do think that might be a diss on me. And it heightens. I always enjoy their honesty as well. Oh, my God, that honesty bit us in the ass this week. They call out the comics that are of poor quality, but also are quick to praise the books that are good. A great comics podcast. Well, thank you, Lights Out 122. Every time I see it, I want it to say Light Soul for some reason, but it does not, Eric. It says Lights Out. So why do you keep saying that? But thanks a lot. And please, if anybody wants to go and give reviews and stuff like that, we will mention them on the podcast, maybe even in the first section where I wanted to, Eric. But here we are. Maybe this is the most important section. Here we are with the books. And of course, we always do start with Batman, but we also have Superman's kind of, right? We also have maybe the Shazams who wants to be Superman, at least with X-ray vision. Well, I don't know how long it's going to last. We'll see how it goes, Eric. But if you want to read written reviews for these, go over to our website, weirdsidesdccomics.com, where Sus Gabe does the reviews. They might come out a little bit later as of now, but they'll still be up there for the most part. So go and check that out. But we're going to kick into this, and we're kicking in with Batman, Eric, as we always do. Batman number 136, written by Chip Zdarsky. Maybe Batman. Well, maybe. I don't know the way this
Batman's
is going. Written by Chip Zdarsky, art by Balin Ortega, Timon Moret, and Clayton Coles. And a backup story by Chip Zdarsky with art by Jorge Corona as we get into this. And Batman's back. Eric, he's back. He's missing a hand.
One hand Jack over here.
His hand there. Did you go and check if the hand was the right hand later, that it was his right hand? I wanted to make sure. I didn't want any nonsense like Tom King back in the day.
I just imagine the idea, his right hand is missing. He went to go grab that switch with a hand. I would assume he'd use his dominant hand. So it makes sense to me. I would too,
but maybe that was pulled aside, and I don't know. He might be a lefty.
Oh, yeah? He's a good guy, Jim. He's not evil.
Well, that's true. I think he'd probably play bass lefty. Like the Paul McCartney.
But you can go and check Dark Knight's Metal for some reason, because he's doing it.
That's what I was thinking of when he was acting like he was the old Gene Simmons there, and you hated it because, Eric, you don't like fun.
No, I don't like ridiculous nonsense. It takes away from the characters.
Maybe we'll see later on when it comes to certain, legal matters. But we end up in this
bureaucratic space dinosaur.
Batman here, he's back. people are having sort of ideas of, okay, well, maybe everything was a dream. Maybe Zoranar's messing with them. And I'm not saying it's a dream, though we are heading into Night Terrors with a K, which is really going to throw things for a loop, right? But you end up having Mr. Terrific here. He's checking them out. He knows about the hand, Eric, but, talk to the hand because Batman does not want it out there. I'm telling you, everybody's worried about Batman. Everybody's worried about Bruce. I don't know if missing a hand is going to be that much any different than them being worried about anything.
You don't want to add to the worries. But when you see Batman back in action here in Gotham City, and he's like, he's missing a hand. He had a makeshift hand put on the Dark Knight's universe. But when you see it here, it's like, oh, it's that revamped one we had in Return of the Jedi that Luke Skywalker had. It's really badass and just a glove at this point in time. I'm like, okay, you did it. We don't even have to worry. It's even funny, though, where people call it out later on where the Batman were having breakfast together. Like, you're going to wear your gloves at the table? And I'm just thinking to myself, who the fuck are you to question Batman and how he's going to eat at the breakfast table? But no, I'm going to keep him on.
This guy uses a knife and fork to eat hamburgers when he's at the Batburger. I mean, seriously, though, really, because of you mentioning Luke and that hand, I am really surprised that you don't have that little thing where they show the innards and he's moving just to remind you.
It's the coolest part.
Because all this is to remind you, hey, everybody, or to tell you he still has that, hand.
His robotic hand.
And all I can think of was the idea where Mr. Terrific must be down with it, or I think he would have said, listen, can I pimp your hand? Is there any way?
Can I pimp
And Batman's like, I don't need flames on it or anything, and please don't put, play fair on it. But yeah, because he would definitely be able to have the tech to maybe improve it if he thought it needed improvement.
It's such a weird idea because I figure, if Batman is going to keep, one robotic hand, we're going to keep it that he's one-hand jack over here, almost like we did with Alfred for a little while, until we found, a weird sus replacement just to sew on to Alfred and say, okay, medical miracle, you're good to go, Alfie. Well, if you have this, and it's going to be something that stays with the character, you have to, like you said, pimp my hand, where you have different bat hands for different bat occasions. Because even at one point, when you see him just, pretty much just rocking a black glove, essentially, that's all you pretty much have for your Bruce Wayne persona, I have to imagine. Maybe you can even get, a flesh robot hand. I know what I'm doing with that, but I don't think Bruce Wayne would. But I want to have an as bat hand where you have that big, knife gauntlet that, Azrael had when he was Batman. I want to have all these different things.
Bananka blast, if you're going to go out with the ladies right before you get your breath
I figure
going.
If that's the case, you can just have Bananka in your pocket.
Well, you have it in your finger that way. And that would be one of the fingers. All of a sudden now each finger does
He's Inspector Gadget?
Oh, yeah, that's what I want.
Go, bat fingers. Like
you said, though, Alfred lost his hand. Really, everybody reading this has to think to themselves, that'll go away eventually. Because it always does. I thought, get in that Genesis machine you have, Batman, just redo yourself again. You got all those scars. You got your hand missing. He does that a lot,
the Genesis machine is for a cloned body. Not for him, though. When we had when he had his body, pretty much you'll have two Batman then, and then it's a paradox, and then they're going to have to kill each other because you can't trust another Batman, especially with one who has brain damage because of Zero-N-R.
That is true. Now, if we go back to that concept, would you have Zero-N-R in there if you did do the clone with the Genesis machine? Maybe that will get rid of it, right?
Now you're talking about some weird, amazing Grant Morrison kind of Bat God stuff where you have an idea where you can put, all the thoughts and memories of Bruce Wayne into a new clone body to make sure that Batman will always continue on, okay? That is a basis that Scott Snyder came up with, that we had the far-flung future stories where this kept happening. If we get Zero-N-R that is psychically protected, not psychically, but just deep down driven into the subconscious of Batman where you cannot get him out, he's made sure that psychics can never attack him because Zero-N-R will always be protected and or surfaces of Bruce Wayne's mind is taken over. If you build yourself a body and specifically make it so the memories of Zero-N-R and everything like that come out, where you then have Batman versus Batman and Zero-N-R, that's amazing.
Here's the thing, Eric. In my notes, it's funny we got to this because I was saving it for the end. That's what I think is going to happen. I legitimately think. And the idea of as I'll go kind of ahead to the ending and that backup, the idea of killing a man, could this be some sort of, failsafe gets this programming? And indeed, you do have Zoro-N-R trying to kill a man, Bruce Wayne. He wants him to just, and will they, because even then at the end, failsafe kind of is like, that does not compute. He does. It's a weird sort of RoboCop programming that I do think at one point you're going to get Zoro-N-R in a body. That body is going to look as they killed Bruce Wayne and then he's done. I think that's actually how it's going to end.
If you're going to go robot processing and the thought pattern of like an AI system like that, the one that has to make sure that I kill Batman in case Batman ever crosses the line and kills somebody like we saw Failsafe do before, because this comic wants you to know Failsafe is still out there. So where's the robot? We don't know. Hopefully it'll come back. But if you have this going on, I think what you do is you have Zur-En-Arrh die, get that thing out of there. But then when Failsafe is there, Batman didn't kill somebody. He killed himself, so it's okay.
Or, like I said, you end up, because if you're going to end up taking care of Zur-En-Arrh, I still think that people would be upset if Batman kills anything. I mean, this guy steps on the bug. People lose their mind. I think Failsafe returns. There's something with this idea that Zur-En-Arrh kind of gets into its own butt, and then Failsafe takes care of that.
To a world without a Zur-En-Arrh.
I would guess that at the end you will have Zur-En-Arrh like, no, he's on some weird world. I was actually thinking that by the end, so I'm glad we kind of got to there. But
it's funny too. We could even go with the idea where Grant Morrison took the Zur-En-Arrh thing. We actually take him to a world which actually looks like that Planet X Zur-En-Arrh Batman. So you can have that where this is a parallel world that he's at to, but it just looks like the Silver Age Zur-En-Arrh Batman.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be cool. And I think that we will get something like that. The problem with this issue...
And on that world, he has powers.
We're going to be going off to Night Terror. So what is going to happen in this? So what this
Spooky
really
season.
is like a 2-minute warning to set up the Gotham War, is a lot of what this issue is going to give you. You're going to end up having the Oswald Cobblepot twins, and you're going to end up also having Selina Kyle setting up in this. And it's kind of a funny play when you get to both, because the idea that the Cobblepot twins, we haven't seen shit on shit about them.
Well, we've been in a parallel universe.
They're doing all the stuff here. And, they're ending up running illegal gambling, and I don't like that. I'm a prude. But the idea of this has to set up, like I said, not only this and the Gotham War, but also even maybe the book that Tom King will be doing, the Penguin book. That's going to come out in August as well. So you are setting up some stuff here. And then at the end, you're just going to be like, okay, well, we're off to Night Terrors. Let's see what's going on there. But in this, you end up having some nice moments with the Bat family until they're on fire of the mind, Eric.
Is it even real? Because I don't even know what's going on with Batman's mind by the end of this. And it is a mind fuck by the time we get to the end, where the Bat family all do want to get together and have a Bat family breakfast, because it's been too long. And they're all worried about Bruce Wayne, as they should be, because the guy was stuck in a parallel dimension for a few weeks. But when you have this going on and Bruce's mind is constantly being attacked by Zur-En-Arrh and everything that Zur-En-Arrh had done behind Bruce's back going on, when you have them just set on fire, and this is in front of Bruce's eyes, I'm like, all right, are you actually here right now? Is your mind just on fire? And fire as if you're seeing this happen, or is none of this real?
Well, again, if they ended up, I think that if it was totally not real, they'd be like, I'm on fire. What the hell? He's seeing them burn down. In my mind, this is the play of, okay, I'm going to show you that they're all doomed. Like, you sit there, they're having fun. Even Jason, right? And the idea of, you're just setting them up.
See, that's the weirdest part about it, because for some reason, especially because of what we have going on in the Joker, the Man Who Stopped Caring so much, when you have Jason show up to the Bat family breakfast, and you see them all set on fire later on, and Bruce is all shocked at what he's seeing, as he should be, I had to question, is this all real? Especially because Jason was invited to breakfast. I'm like, maybe this is telling me that this isn't real, because nobody would invite Jason to breakfast.
It's funny, you did that. I was desperately trying to see what Damien was eating, thinking that he'd be chomping on some bacon. I'm like, nope, that's not real. Like, what would Zur-En-Arrh know? If Zur-En-Arrh is making all this, I was actually looking for little things that maybe, he wouldn't know this, or he wouldn't know that.
Jason being there.
Who knows anymore? Because of how nothing's tight enough to actually rely on that. But it's nice. But
they invited Duke Thomas? I don't know.
My whole play would have been
now.
If Batman would have just went back to the manor and home sweet home, all right, then I'd say, no, this isn't real. But he says, hey, I live in the brownstone. But this whole thing of him not having Wayne Manor, it's just sitting there for how long?
So tired of this.
Because how long this has been sitting there. And they go and there's shit in the refrigerator. Don't eat that. That shit's all bad. I don't know who was stocking that fridge, but it's bad.
The fridge is fully stocked, and it's ridiculous to think this, but I have to think that the rest of the Bat family brought these groceries in because of what they're doing, but it's fully stocked.
It even looks like there's leftovers in there, Eric.
Looks like a Jell-O mold's in there.
Yeah, look at that. And like, I don't know what. Yeah, look at that. I'm looking, it looks like some bread and some nonsense. And yeah, it looks fully stocked. Now, I'd love to think they have the Jetsons restocking fridge, but I doubt it. Also,
well, they like to say that. Rosie did it all. Come on.
True, Rosie.
And again, a fully stocked fridge. Even the idea, too, for some reason, I need to go off on a Jetsons tangent. What is Rosie restocking? I have the refrigerator fully stocked of pills, sir.
Yeah, that is true. And maybe nuts and bolts, because you know what? Rosie was definitely screwed. So you end up going through this, though, but
I like it.
I was looking through a lot of it to see if I could, okay, that doesn't feel right. And again, you're pretty much on Front Street. Chip Zdarsky's saying, hey, here's Batman. Yep. Bruce is having problems. He's trying to get Zornar locked away. Zornar even taunts him, well, you're not destroying me because that might destroy your mind, so you're just locking me away. Do you do that to maintain your sanity, or are you doing it because you need me? Because Batman, and we're going to play the same
trope. You're weak.
Yeah, we're going to play, this is, the Joker would normally say that the Bat family pulls him down, but here's Zornar to say, no, it's Bruce. Bruce is pulling you down. And, I mean, here's the thing, for what we had seen recently, a lot of times Bruce has been a real prick, right? And that didn't get the job done, but now he is being a little the softer side of Bruce, and that's not getting the job done, so I don't know who's right or wrong.
Zur-En-Arrh is the pure essence of Batman, which is scary as hell. You need that Bruce Wayne and the rest of the Bat family to reel that back in, so I'm going to say that Zur-En-Arrh is the bad guy here.
Well, I would say that, yes, Zur-En-Arrh is the bad guy, but Bruce is a little worried about all this going on. And even when Dick Grayson, that's the weird play. I'm assuming this is kind of really happening. And when Dick says, hey, we can get some mind readers and stuff like that, telepaths.
Can't do it.
He says there's no way. You're going against what.
Zur-En-Arrh was made to go against all of this. You can't have any of this doing because you'll destroy me as well as this.
Yeah, so, again, it's weird that they go to the manor, but it's kind of a nice moment.
No, it's definitely a nice moment until everybody catches on fire.
Everybody's on fire, right? But it does also show you that, Batman, it goes back to that trope or cliche of his as well. Am I setting these kids up for a bad life? And the answer is yes. But he ends up seeing this and sees the joy and whatnot of them, something that he hasn't had for quite some time, or maybe never had. I mean, he's one of those guys that I talk about when I used to play hockey. See, because I'm Batman, Eric, and everything goes through me. But I told you this before, and you see stuff with the... Thanks a lot, jerk. You see things even with the podcast. It's not that I want to succeed. I want others to fail. And I think that Batman realizes this fight will never end, so if he wins the day, that's what he's supposed to do. So he doesn't really get pleasure at it. But the Bat family seems to be getting some pleasure, but he wants to get on board. Okay, what has happened since I was gone? I've only been gone a little bit, but what happened?
Well, Selina broke out of prison, and freaking Aiden and Addison Cobblepot, well, they've taken over their father's casino, the Iceberg Lounge, and now they've decided they're going to go and have little smaller things, offshoots of the Iceberg Lounge for people who don't want to be there, called growlers. Which is a little, I'm telling you, the idea that Chip Zdarsky wants to go and have it's what sailors call small icebergs as they melt. The air that escapes sounds like a growl. I'm like, all right, I guess you're being clever here. I didn't need this, but it's such a weird idea that you have the Iceberg Lounge, the big hot spot for the Penguin that everybody knows about, or the Iceberg Casino if you prefer sometimes. But one of the growlers is set up in the Orgum Hotel, and I'm like, why is it the Orgum Hotel? I feel like it should be something more Cobblepot. I know you're trying to, make it so people will come and do illegal gambling on the down low without thinking that you're a part of the Penguin stuff.
And is this part of the Orgum Place is what I want to know.
Exactly.
Because if it is, this thing's blowing up, right? And I don't mean it's popular. I mean the shit's blowing up.
We have all this stuff in Detective Comics. That's why I let you say it. I'm going to have everybody do it. I waited.
You had a really odd pause.
No, that was for the laugh track, for people to laugh at home.
Oh, the laugh track, okay.
I'm sure everybody is laughing at it. It's blowing up, Jim.
My dreams.
Eric.
It's the Orgum Hotel. Is this a part of the properties that the Orgums were, or like you said before, is it actually the Orgum Place? Because we don't know what the Orgum Place actually is. It's one of our biggest projects in Detective Comics. So is it just a hotel that everybody's out front, for a ticker tape parade for when it blows up?
Everything that the Orgums do always has a ticker tape parade. Everybody's doing selfies. Later on in this podcast, we'll talk about why it seems that Lex Luthor has come into Gotham and changed things.
Real estate
That's
war.
Not here or there, but I do like this idea, and this actually makes so much sense to me. First off, the idea that these people who don't want to be seen in the Iceberg, that makes sense. But this other guy who's sitting there is like, hey, I told the mayor to clean up or else they won't get my money next year. I'm like, That's why he keeps getting elected. He has pieces of shit like this that end up giving him a ton of money. It's a fix. And I'll go with that. Why not have Nakano in charge? That guy does shit. Like, it really made sense to me, though I think Mr. Worth would disagree, Eric, but that's not here nor there either. But when you end up having Batman come down to fight the Cobblepotts, I like it because this is him coming and saying, okay, well, he still thinks he killed Oswald.
Well, that Oswald killed himself made it look like Batman killed him. But it looked
like that, but he thinks he's dead. So when he comes in, this isn't just like, I'm going to take care of these schmucks. This is, I need to come back as Batman, show them what's what, and, get everybody scared again. And when he comes down, he is a little bit taken by surprise by old Aiden, who ends up just walloping a bunch of times. I thought that was intriguing. We haven't seen anything with these two.
It seems like
Aiden
might be on the old Venom because he's stronger and faster than Batman. And so there's something up with Aiden, but he just totally beats the crap out of Aiden until he breaks Aiden's hand just so he can pretty much walk away and lick his wounds. Watch yourself, Penguin Twins. I'm the Batman.
I like that. He's like limping away. Oh my God, watch yourselves, jerks. I was confused a bit when Aiden grabs onto a chair, it looks like, and then smashes it on Batman, and then I guess it was made of rock. It looked really odd there, but I do like that Batman is trying to be vicious, too. And Aiden really shocks him, puts him in a bathtub like he's ODing on heroin, and then ends up, doing this. But you also get, I don't know. It seemed a little sus. He's really into that sister of his, right? Oh, my, Eric. But
people care about their brothers and sisters, Jim.
That is true. It reminds me a little of Spy Family, but you don't read that, so I can't really go into Yori.
That's right. You said that. I thought you were talking about Spy Kids.
No, Spy.
I don't know that either.
Or Spy X Family, somebody might call it, but I say Spy Family. But yeah,
that
you end
sounds
up having
weird.
Characters like that, a brother and sister, and the brother is a little sus like that. But I agree with you, though, that you would protect your sister, but you end up where I start thinking, like, what is up with her, though? Maybe she's got something going on as well. But Batman ends up grabbing Aiden with his hand, with the robot hand, and crushes him. And he ends up like, oh, my God, what did you do? Like, he's surprised that he had this grip. But that's what Batman had to end up using to get out of there. And I love that he's just covered in water. He's walking away, got the shit kicked out of him. He's like, consider this a warning. That didn't go as smooth as you thought, Batman.
Bleeding. Consider this a warning. Penguin Twins.
Oh, my God. So then he ends up going to the Bowery.
Don't watch me leave.
Out. It's like, you don't see the man behind the cowl here. I'm getting out of here. And then he ends up talking to Barbara about the whole deal with this, and then
Selena.
Also about Selena. And so he does end up going to see her. At first I thought, well, why's Harley in? Oh, it's a disguise. Selena's disguise.
It's just the worst part of the book, though, because it just lets you know that the Catwoman book was such nonsense with the idea of putting Selena Kyle into prison, because not only did you have Bruce Wayne trying to say, look, I know you killed Valmont, but you did it for the right reasons. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I love you. I'm going to use my money and my resources to get you out of prison. No! I need to pay for what I did. And then you had the district attorney come in. Look, we know Punchline was involved. I can get you out of prison. No! I need to pay for what I did. And then to Batman's back, the hell you doing? I could have got you out. I don't need no mans to break me out of prisons. I did this on my own. I'm like,
she says, prison wasn't for me.
God damn it.
There were so many people that easily all you had, I mean, we never had a trial.
You let a lot of metahumans out of prison with you. Dangerous metahumans.
You ended up having fights and people having crazy stuff go on just because it seemed like you were making a stand. Almost, I mean, I will say, it was almost like Daredevil over Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil at Marvel. But that you just decided, now that I can't get my street flavor ramen from my cat, I'm out.
Bruce,
and then
you don't understand. Phase 2 happened, and I had to get out.
What she says is, I'm a ghost now. No, you're not. She says, I did this to be a ghost. No, you have a lot of people that should be trying to find you. A ghost would be go and get out because you're innocent and then disappearing. Nobody will come after you. You
that's
are
the thing
at least enemy number one here.
She is enemy number one. She is disappearing because she's not walking around with Selena Kyle. Now, Catwoman need to be out back on the streets, so that's why she did it. And Aiko, she wasn't cutting the mustard.
No, well, I wish that she even went even more, but the whole play is I'm a ghost. I'm like, not really. Everybody.
Well, I'm Batman.
Batman's like, I'm spiritual. I'm afraid of ghosts. You end up where all of this going on, that doesn't make sense. And I see here, and this is what really has me worried about Gotham War, and I don't know if you agree, but Chip Zdarsky here is trying to make sense of something that Teenie Howard wrote that made no damn sense to begin with.
Somebody
and he's trying his best, and he's not really doing, but he is. But I don't need writers trying to make up for the other writer.
Look, that's all DC has anymore.
I know, but with this, I hope that it isn't like we get a Teenie Howard Catwoman book in the Gotham War, and that's bullshit. And now the next issue is just Chip Zdarsky trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. I hope so that they're combined together a little more than.
When do we have the Gotham War happening? Is that
it
September?
Happens in September. It happens right after the whole Dark Knight or Night Terrors with a K leads into that. So you have
the only thing I can suspect, because I haven't looked ahead at anything about, the Gotham War, I just know that it's happening sometime after the summertime.
It is happening there.
When we have this going on here with Zur-En-Arr breaking free, essentially, or at least trying to break free, or the idea that he has been broken free in the past to create his own Zur-En-Arr Batcave and all of the fail-safe stuff, like he is able to take control of Bruce when he wants to, it seems like, even though Bruce has put him behind a psychic cage for now. Is it the idea that it's everybody against the Zur-En-Arr Batman? Like,
no, it's actually
Bruce Wayne?
Oh, Gotham War. The thing is, Gotham War is just Batman versus Selina because Selina has a crime empire.
But which Batman?
Well, we'll have to see.
Because from where we are right now, leading into Night Terrors, maybe Night Terrors is going to finish up all our Zur-En-Arr stuff, which would feel really weird. When we go into the Gotham War, it seems like it'd be way more interesting if it was that badass Zur-En-Arr Batman that they had to tangle with.
Well, here's the deal. Night Terrors isn't going to be... The Batman book's written by Joshua Williamson and Night Terrors, so Chip Zdarsky isn't doing it. So I would think it'd be odd for him to, wrap up something that's been Chip Zdarsky's whole story here, but who knows? But even so, when you come back, it seems that they're going to play the idea that Gotham, with Selina Kyle taking over, there's no crime anymore. Crime is down because she's controlling the crime families, and this pisses Batman off.
This is not how I do it, Selina.
And you're going to get that. It's nothing new or, that big, but that's what it seems to be. What's setting up with that. I just know how much that Catwoman book has been so much nonsense. And my big play, when I talked about it, I did a video on it on our YouTube channel, the idea where a lot of times you'll connect to a Batman book so that you elevate the book that's connecting with. One of the big things that we talked about was when Priest was doing Deathstroke and they wanted to get the numbers up.
Deathstroke versus Batman.
So when you do this, though, Teenie Howard's Catwoman is so bad that I'm worried that it's actually going to de-elevate the Batman book, and people are going to say, call me when September ends or however long. It's supposed to last, quite some time, but we'll see how this goes. And this just shows me, though, that Chip Zdarsky is trying to make... But it doesn't make sense. Selina goes into jail because she didn't, but kind of,
she killed Valmont.
Dead, and so she's like, well, I'm still going to face the music for that. And I really wish that, and maybe, how about this is the play? Still doesn't make sense about her breaking out, but she knows, Eric, as you said, Valmont, his spirit, is in the, so she didn't really kill him, but she needed him to be able to I don't know.
You got to understand, Batman. Valmont's not dead. His spirit transferred into my pussy, cat.
Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness, Eric. I got excited there. But, yeah, maybe it's her doing him a solid. Maybe she knows Valmont did. I don't know. I don't know, but it didn't make sense that she went into prison and really had a hard stance and then decided to just break out.
The part of Selina Kyle, everybody's here for because you want to have that Batman-Catwoman relationship going on, especially now that Catwoman's out of prison. But talking about that nonsense story and then having Selina have the loose lips of telling Batman the Penguin's not dead, the secret that I love that I wish would have been kept, he's Paul Meredith over Metropolis. I love that so much. But now Batman knows that. I'm like, you're just breaking my heart all over the place here, Selina. You're doing all the wrong stuff. You're not making your jail time make sense. You're ratting on the Penguin. I thought you were a cat, not a rat.
Yeah, I love Eric, you did it. It's funny because she says that she wanted to have, Oswald deserves it. Oswald deserves to have a fresh start, Eric, as you often say. But still, fresh start over. If she ends up saying to Batman that he's alive, he's definitely going to go and check that out. And then when you have this going on, then Batman's like, well, I made this killer robot.
I was in a parallel world. You betrayed me. I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, and they're like, man, we got a lot of secrets. They're yelling and screaming at each other, all this happening. And yeah, you end up where Selina is just like, well, that's your life, Bruce. Sayonara, sucker. And then jumps off the side of the building, maybe to her death. I'm not sure, Eric, but you end up then, the sensors are triggered at the manor, and off he goes. And that's where he ends up. And he ends up saying, yeah, I had that battle with Zur-En-Arrh. He has this little cave underneath. But what's going up there in the kitchen? Oh, shit, they're making breakfast.
I wish we'd have a better look at his current Batmobile, because this looks new, but you haven't really seen anything really definitive with it.
Yeah, really, it's just kind of there. So he ends up going, and it's nice. You get to see all the kids. You end up having Bela Ortega say that took a while doing this because knew that this would be kind of a cool thing for people, and I thought it was pretty cool. I laughed when
together with Cass and Duke and Jason.
Now, tell me if you laugh at this one. Somebody actually ended up saying on Twitter, and they tweeted this out, I love Batman 136. That's fine, right? I loved it because of the great interaction between Damian and Batman. I'm like, he says father and walks I'm like, that was it made me giggle when it happened.
Amazing.
Amazing. But I did, again, it's weird Jason being here because of what's going on in the Joker, the man who stopped me caring about, but
everything that led into that as well, everything we had in Urban Legend with the cheer drops, Jason killing a man in front of his son and all this stuff.
And that was a Chip Zdarsky story, that one.
Yeah,
so
everything that Jason has been doing, though, has been leading him down the path to be away from the Bat family, which is like exactly the opposite. Because I want this Jason, except for that stupid white streak in his hair. I want him to be a part of the Bat family, solid like he is here. I just don't see it for everything we've seen lately of Jason Todd being this way.
Jason's out and about. He doesn't want to be recognized as anybody but Jason Blood.
Even in Task Force Z.
Yeah, I know. And all that going on. But then you end up, because of this whole mind freak and things like that, all of a sudden you have Tim whose finger's on fire. I'm like, oh my, where was that finger? And then all of a sudden everybody is on fire, and you have Bruce freaking out, but they're not reacting as if anything. It's of the mind.
They're not on fire, so
yeah, like they're there, but they're pretty tough kids, right? Yeah, I liked seeing them there. Not really on fire, but still, you end up where then you have a backup, and this is Chip Zdarsky and Jorge Corona, as I said earlier, and this is just showing you early days Zur-En-Arrh making failsafe, and the idea maybe you should have made it a percentage. Failsafe is there, and if he's 95% sure that Batman's he'll react and go after. I'm like, why not make that a little higher? I think you got to make that a little bit higher there.
Man, I'm not 100% sure about anything in my life.
Yeah, well, really. And again, you said that it was mentioned earlier that failsafe is still out there, and you see this in the program. And I think that this is to show that the programming wasn't exactly perfect the way that it was going. And even if Zur-En-Arrh ended up, tweaking things, whatnot, it's still thinking like a robot. That's where I started thinking about all the stuff going on.
I started going with that, especially we don't even know how Failsafe is going to react now that, Bruce has compromised his programming with empathy from what we saw before he went to that parallel world that Failsafe sent him to. But I really dug this back up just for the idea that Batman created Zur-En-Arrh to be this protection against like a mind attack like we saw in Batman R.I.P. and stuff like that. But Batman created this, but he didn't know all this time that Zur-En-Arrh were taking, like whenever Bruce would take like a micro nap or something like that, he would take over. He would take over the body of Bruce Wayne, build his own Batcave.
Almost like his own night terrors with a K, right?
And I just love the idea that all this was going on under Bruce Wayne's nose. And even, to the point where when Failsafe is being built, it's a constant thing where, Zur-En-Arrh will like spar with the Failsafe robot. And whenever he comes up with a way to defeat the robot, he adds that to the programming. So this went on forever. Bruce Wayne didn't know. That's how cutting his Zur-En-Arrh is. And it seems like it's going to be a gigantic threat when he finally does take over. And if the idea of almost what you had in Superman 3, the movie, where you had evil Superman versus good Clark Kent, and you had that big knockout slobber knocker in the junkyard. I can't wait to see that happen with Zur-En-Arrh and Batman, to see who is the actual Batman, because I think that's an amazing sounding story, especially if you still have a failsafe robot in there.
And what he's doing with failsafe reminded me a lot of, if you bring Superman in, it reminds you of Doomsday, how they ended up. Doomsday would go out, die, they'd reclone, boom, go out, and he kept learning like that to just be awful. But yeah, all this I thought was pretty cool. Now, you say that failsafe is out, with his empathy. I think he's working like as Patch Adams at the children's hospitals and things like that.
So, this little clown nose.
He's got clown nose. He's playing. Nobody realizes he's a killer robot that was taking over Gotham a couple weeks ago. So there you have it.
Oh, Dr. Safe.
Oh, my. Okay, Dr. Safe. See, that's pretty good. I feel so safe with you, Dr. Safe. But it ends there, and this...
Call me fail.
I actually... Call me. That would be good. I actually was kind of digging that maybe this could continue. This back up and see a little more of it, but it looks like this ends.
I dig it.
We're going to stop now and go to the Night Terrors. So when we come back, it looks like we'll have a different type of backup and the Gotham War and stuff like that. So,
I just don't know how we reconcile what happens in this issue to go directly, well, not directly, because it's going to play from Night Terrors into Gotham War. I just don't know how you go from this to something completely different and then something completely different. Like, there has to be a through line.
You got to pack that stuff away, Eric, and go into it.
Failsafe and Zur-En-Arrh need to be main players in everything that's going forward in Batman, because right now I'm so into the ideas that Chip Zdarsky is throwing down for the Bat-God and his robot hand.
In this, it possibly that it's in Batman's dreams and nightmares. You end up hooking up with Deadman. You get the, Wesley Dodds Sandman, stuff like that. Maybe when you're in that deal, it's able to lock away Zur-En-Arrh, and you can kind of... I don't know how they'll do it, if they even mention it.
That is so lackluster.
Isn't the idea of stopping all this shit for Night Terrors lackluster anyway? You're putting the whole...
Of course
so
it is.
much. It's
but
nonsense.
I need to know that it's going to come back after a bullshit summer break that DC's having with Night Terrors.
It's your event, Eric.
It's not my event.
It's your event. Bullshit or not, it's the only event, so it's your event.
Look, I'm telling you, the idea that you sparked with the Genesis machine, cloning a body and putting the Zur-En-Arrh mind into its own Batman to fight against Batman, that's an amazing story. Why aren't we doing that for like 6-7 months?
Well, we'll see. We'll see, Eric, but watch yourself.
The Batman War.
Watch yourself, Eric. If you end up talking bad about Night Terrors with a K, DC may take the review copies away again. They'll take away what we don't have. Oh, my goodness. And they told me in an email, Eric, that they're sorry that we're not reviewing comics anymore. Oh, my goodness gracious. With that, Eric, what would you give this issue?
Ultimately, I like this issue a lot, besides the Selena Kyle stuff. Too. Even reintroducing Addison and Aiden Cobblepot, I think, was interesting. Even if the Growler, like the low-key Iceberg Lash stuff, didn't really settle with me.
It was trying to be clever,
I know, that's all it was. But I like the reintroduction of them for what we had previously before Batman got zapped away by a fail-safe robot. This is Selena Kyle stuff. It's trying to polish a turd in the Catwoman book. It's not working here like it didn't work over there. Ratty got the Penguin really upset me because I love Paul Meredith over there in Metropolis selling flowers. But everything else, it just really got me intrigued to keep on going with Batman, even though going forward it might not be exactly what I want from this issue. But I'm giving it a 7.8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm giving it an 8. I'm giving it an 8. And again, I'm just upset that we have to go to Night Terrors with a K. I just don't understand. You can have your Night Terrors bullshit. Keep the other stuff going. I know that might end up making it so people wouldn't read Night Terrors.
We already have a ton of books. You want to add to it?
I'm saying, though, we could just, me and you would be screwed. But still, the idea, give people, and there are some books that continue through, but these big ones, don't think that you're going to force people into something that never works. So if you're that worried about this event that you have to shut down shit, then it must not be that great in the first place, and I worry, but we'll see how it is. But I really want more of this right here, right now, which I'll say about a lot of books as we go through this month of June before we get to the spookiest months, July and August, Eric.
Obviously.
But we're going to move on. What are we going with now?
Adventures of Superman, John Kent, number 4, written by Tom Taylor with art by Derek Robertson, Norm Ratman, Jordi Belair, and Wes Abbott. And we continue John's trek through the Injustice universe, where he's trying to find out if evil daddy can be redeemed and this world can be saved John Kent style. And what you get essentially for this number 4 issue out of 6 is another walking tour.
Every time you do it, sounds like somebody's like slicing you, Eric. You're having problems.
It's another walking tour of the Injustice universe, which may be fine for somebody who, I'm telling you, it's the exact same thing that I said last issue of John Kent.
Well, why not? This exactly
is fine.
What it is.
For someone who doesn't know anything about Injustice. But if you even have an inkling through the game or like the first, year of the Injustice series, all of this is common knowledge, and just John finding out is just, all right, let's do some recaps for us readers at home.
Yeah, and the thing is that if I'm talking to people about this, or while I'm talking to people about this, because you know that I really do like Injustice.
Yeah.
So in my mind, we never needed this. But here it is. So I'm going to get into it. And I'm reading it and I have this weird tug of war because I'm sitting, well, it's not really bad, but there's nothing to it. And in this, because last issue, oh my God, Superman might be sus. Well, we all know that. Everybody should know that. And in this one, it's, let's go see Batman.
Lex Luthor's a good guy and working with Batman? The hell you say?
I mean, and the way that Tom Taylor is forcing these issues in here where John comes in, fist a-blazing, and ends up, Lex Luthor, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And then when they all beat the shit out of him, he's like,
why, you guys got powers?
And then also says, like, man, why don't you listen to me before? No. You came in with your big cock energy, asshole. You deserve this. And then it's like, oh, my God, because Batgirl's here. No, please do something more with this if you're going to do it.
The moment where it's, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg fly off with Sinestro to go check in on some other outside of Earth problem that they're dealing with in the Injustice universe. And Superboy, I was going to say Superboy, I don't even know why he said that, but John Kent sees Lex Luthor going off to do something. Like, I'm going to follow that guy. I don't trust Lex Luthor because, Superman. And when he finds that, he's working with Batman, the rest of what the hell are they called? The Revolutionaries. But when you have this going on and John Kent, like you said, comes in with that big dick energy, it's like this. Do you think you could honestly stop me? And they all rush him. And he's like, whoa, what are you guys doing? Because he's not used to people that's actually coming out of him.
So weird, though. And I think it's more the insurgency, the revolutionaries, where the deal in his Suicide Squad.
The insurgents is right, but for some reason, I couldn't get the regime out of my mind. I know it's the Superman faction, but I'm like, what is the other one? For some reason, I don't even know what I was going to say.
Now, when he's
revolutionaries.
I love the idea that John's there. Now, John, again, he spent some time in a volcano. He said he might not be the brightest bulb in the whole pack here, but he's there. Oh my goodness, you're working with Sinestro. But is Sinestro the bad guys? And they're like, no, well, it's a little gray area there. But there's Lex, who is like already that this world is different. So you have to figure this out. When he ends up going into the underground base with Batman, and it has Catwoman, Harley, you have back, like the idea that he does come in with this big cock energy just because Lex went there. Well, that Superman is already sus. And then you go here, think they're sus. Because you have Lex saying kind of a cool little deal. Hey, there must have been a plan from Ultraman. Now, this seems so specific because all the other Supermen that Ultraman seemed to be going, going roughshod through. I don't know that he had a big plan overall, except for I'm just going to go and kill people. But he seems to have this plan here.
Well, Kal-El, the Ultraman, just had a big old hard-on for all the Superman, the Kal-Els across the multiverse for how many times they beat him. So he's going to go and kill Kal-El, specifically Kal-El. Remember, Valazad and Red Tornado are off in the Phantom Zone still, waiting to get let out. But when you had the situation going on where I said originally, the device that Ultraman has makes it so he makes it like Kal-El is less powerful. Like, we're never going to hear of this device again, I said. It's going to be thrown away, especially when Ultraman died. Like, we're never going to find out. At least get it here a little bit more than I thought we would, because when Alexis talked about Ultraman came here to kill Clark, which means he came with a strategy to do so. I believe I found it in his suit. Ultraman's symbol holds the power to hurt Superman. I believe it can emit something that targets Clark at a cellular level. It leeches his power. This could be the answer to take on, Superman of the Injustice universe. But when the dead body of Ultraman is just propped up there and Lex peels off the symbol of Ultraman, well, he looks like the He-Man action figure Faker, the evil robot of He-Man, with that robotic parts of his chest. I'm like, I just wanted this to be a weird, Earth 3 Amazo bot that is not actually Ultraman, but a robot.
Be Ultraman. That would be actually a better play.
Because I need Ultraman to be alive.
Ultraman would still be alive then. But the multiverse fixes itself, we've been told, Eric. But that's where, again, John comes in here, and he doesn't commit, again, you have Tom Taylor pushing so much that Batman, what an asshole. No, he's not. He may be a miserable prick. But he's not an asshole. And the idea that you would, in a world where you see that Superman, and this, you're not your dad, but Superman is sus, and Batman's hiding away, probably in what is all lead blind, and John would have seen this. He has to come in thinking that Batman might be on the up and up, especially as later he says, well, if Batgirl Well, at first he's just like, oh, I'm going to get all of you. And then he's just upset because he gets the shit kicked out of him.
To the point where his electric powers surface.
Batman is trying to kill him. And that felt weird, too. You're really pushing this stuff in a weird direction for me, being an Injustice fan, to really show, in my mind, by the end, that this Injustice world, it doesn't matter who's good or bad. This world needs to burn itself. And it does. But you end up where the electric powers then trigger, and they kind of knock people away. And then he's like, oh, my God. He looks at his hands like he's Jason Bourne. Then he picks it up, and he doesn't go after Batgirl because my Batgirl is pretty good. Now, again, John, you're on a different world. You got to get this out of your head. You were taunted and captured by a evil doppelganger of your own dad before. Don't go with the idea that this Batgirl is good just because your Batgirl is good. It happens to be the case, and this is kind of a divergent deal. But still, if that's the case, why did you... It comes in so crazy, and then you realize, like you said, it doesn't really matter by the end because it's just a scene to get the electric powers.
For tea time, so we're all going to calm down and talk about our differences, but I will tell you there is a standout point here for John Kent, everything he knows about his best friend Damian Wayne and Batman in general, and how he feels about the people that he loves in his life, where when Superman of this world lost his family because of what Joker did to him, the idea is like, and I bet you his best friend Bruce Wayne was there to support and comfort him during this time, or even the idea when Damian accidentally killed Nightwing, and like, I'm sure you were there for him, didn't push him away or anything. Like, all of this calling Batman on his bullshit, I love the John Kent
and that's
issue,
that first year stuff, and even the second year stuff that when I talk to people about Injustice, where they just use, if they haven't read it or they read a little or played the game, it's like, I hate evil Superman. There are the points, and that's what really was good about, especially that first year, is there are many times where Superman, oh my God, he's going to give up. He's not going to, but then Batman's a dick.
That or Wonder Woman comes and starts whispering in his ear.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's all these people, not just Superman. So that is true, and what John's doing there, pretty much every reader that's like, come on, Batman, all you have to do is hug Damian once, and he won't go to that other side. So with this, though, I think one missed opportunity, and if I was doing it, Eric, you know me, I would have had it where John, really, or I just Godzilla and crazy stuff. But wouldn't it have been cool if you end up having Superman and Batman? They are going against each other. John pulls back, and Alfred from behind grabs his hand because Alfred's powered too. He took one of the pills and beat the crap out of Superman. I would have loved to have seen that where Alfred's the one that stops John, and John turns around and is like, holy shit, Alfred, like, you're strong. And he's like, everybody needs to come down. I thought that would have been a cool play, just if only to show that Alfred's powered as well. I thought that would have been pretty neat.
But we don't need Alfred to be powerful here because the power of love was enough.
But I'm saying he is. I just would have liked that entrance with Alfred, that he stops the fighting like that and says, hey, everybody's got to calm down. But then John just like, I'm out of here.
Look. We have a weird world that I'm on right now. My dad's apparently evil. You guys are doing... I need to do me some more investigating before I choose a side. I'm going to go talk to Damian, which does not end great because Damian's all like, hey, I don't like anything about you. Get away from me, you freak boy from another world. And also, I'm going to slip a little tracker on you for when you do more of your investigating and go talk to your parallel dimension boyfriend, Jay Nakamura, of this world to figure out what this world is really like, because in your world, Jay's all about the truth. So hopefully this one is all about it too. From everything I see here, though, Jay's pretty much the same, except for our world has better hair for Jay Nakamura.
Yeah, maybe. And the idea, he's still hanging in Gamora, right, doing his deal. And yeah, he ends up saying to John, hey, your dad, or Superman, he's not good here. And Batman's trying to help people. I mean, again, though, it's a nice moment if you like Jay, and not everybody does, but if you do, that's a nice moment, but it doesn't really do it. It's yet another person saying, hey, by the way, this Superman, I'm up and up, and then things are bad.
Do you know about the Injustice universe?
So it is a weird play, especially in something that's only 6 issues, and we have 4 done already.
I know.
We are still introducing and giving recap and a setup to the Injustice universe instead of actually telling the story.
John Kent versus Ultraman.
By the end, you really haven't gone very far with anything. Yeah, and what we wanted in this was John Kent Ultraman deal so we can get a little bit of a
closure.
Let's close the book on all that nonsense and see that maybe John wasn't so great.
Just Injustice.
Injustice. And even then, it's like, he's ping-ponging around. And I don't know it. Here's the thing, too. I sat there and I've read all of Injustice. I actually on our Patreon, if you're interested.
I don't know if I ever finished all of it.
I do an Injustice reading club, and I'm into year 2, things like that. So when I'm doing this, I'm also like, where are we in this? Like, you end up mentioning the idea that Green Arrow is dead, but that's pretty early in the year 1.
Well,
then we also
Black Canary's
dead, so that's a little later.
But I'm like, is she dead or is she away and assumed dead at this point in time? And I'm trying to figure out the timeline myself when I was reading this, because I think I got as far as Ground Zero, and I'm like, I don't need to go back for this one.
And the timeline's a little vague here, and I will say, don't love this Damian. Damian seems to be here to just be the asshole to do this, and it didn't feel right just because of what's going on. But when he puts the tracker on, I'm like, John might have been able to do that, but he's kind of a dummy, so off he goes there. And he's got, like, Damian's not even trying to be any sort of, sly with this.
He has super everything, but he can't feel a tracker on him, or even
hear it
an ultrasonic.
Right?
Exactly, something along the lines that a Superman power, I think, would be able to pick up on this.
The funny play is Damian's smart, and this kind of plays into it and whatnot is what's going on. But I just thought that Damian himself was a little bit over the top here, and it might be kind of like a weird sly swerve as we go. But again, I don't know, and really by the end, I don't know that Tom Taylor's going to say, okay, well, John just fixed the Injustice universe, because it really does like burn everything down wherever this goes. So I think that at the end, you're going to again get that concept of, well, some things you can't change, like people, and we're going to go off. So I worry that what we're getting now is just, hey, everybody, Injustice Earth. And do we need that? Is that something that... And
not for multiple issues.
No. And so one of the things that we were talking about, this actually continues through Night Terrors with a K. So we'll actually be able to get these as we go on through the summer, because John's not on Earth. He's on the Injustice Earth, so he wouldn't be involved. I think that's the play of what they're thinking. So that's kind of a cool deal. We'll get this while we're doing Night Terrors with a K, Eric. But I hope it does something by the end.
Was Damian Wayne in this costume in the previous issue? Because I feel like I'm trying to remember. They called him Robin, I'm pretty sure, but I thought he was in more of a Robin costume. Here, it's more like of an evolved Nightwing costume, because he would eventually become Nightwing.
And that's what
he
should kind of be in. But but again,
I just don't remember this costume being in the last issue for whatever reason.
It's kind of that weird. Like I said, it's kind of like Hyper Time version of an Elseworlds Hyper Time story. It really feels like this is an alt version of an alt story, because I don't know where this timeline really lies there. Though I do look, and at one point, Harley looks like she's just walking around with her panties on. Kind of sexy there. But
yeah, well, she had a very revealing outfit.
Yeah, she did. She really did. But also one of the best characters in Injustice. Tom Taylor did a really good job with her, and you get a little bit of that here, but there's not enough time. Really, she's like, oh, when people give me a body, it's okay. It's more jokey, Harley, with that. But it's just, again, my last thing, though, is once John comes in, wants to fight everybody in the underground base, then all of a sudden he's just really willing to just sit back and listen to Lex. And Lex is like, listen here, old Johnny boy, this is what we're doing. But
look,
we'll see.
Baldy, I'm going to go investigate myself, find out stuff. I have a boyfriend in my world. I'm going to go find him here. He's going to give me the 411, and hopefully my best friend Damian Wayne doesn't put a tracker on me. So after I leave my parallel dimension boyfriend, he doesn't go and attack my parallel dimension boyfriend and I'm telling you, it's Superman still. If we get to the next issue and anything happens to Jay Nakamura or Damian uses him as bait, anything, if John doesn't hear with his super hearing because he's Superman, anything wrong going on because he just flew away, there's something wrong here.
I know. And here's the funny play, too. I know that you kind of have to do it, but it was almost like what happened in that Blue Beetle miniseries. You keep having Superman, you stay here. I'm not allowed to tell you to really stay, but I want you to stay here. There's no reason. We got a lot of vending machines, a lot of food here, video games. Don't leave. And then he keeps leaving anyway, so don't bother even setting that up.
Shucks, I don't have the proper money for this world, old dad o' mine. Can you spare me a few bucks for the vending machine?
And then I think it's just going to lead to a outraged Superman almost killing his not son, but the whole play.
I realize, what have I become?
What have I become? That's all I think. And then it'll be one of those, I'm telling you, this is my guess. Be better, Superman. I will. And then John will leave, and then, he goes right back. Wonder Woman's right there. Don't be better, right? I think I will be better, and we go right back to what it is.
You know what, Diana, you're right.
Yeah, I think there'll be like an ambiguous type ending like that of, I hope it worked, and there you go. The thing is,
I need to be this ending where John goes away. Like, this is a hidden, like, part of a year within all the, like, the year of injustice that we had for the storylines, where this ends and we have some big climactic moment that lets you know exactly where it is in the timeline, where the next phase starts in the comic. So it's like, okay, this was here. You didn't really read about it before, but it was here and it doesn't affect anything. Let's move on with Injustice.
What I need, and I think people would love this, actually. By the end, John leaves the Injustice world. He goes home. Oh, shit, now he's 63. Eric, he's aged up again. Now he's an old man, right? Everybody would love that.
Honestly, it's like one of those Jimmy Olsen adventures where we just have to deal with that now, where something keeps happening to John. But then John leaves, okay? And the next thing we know, Telos shows up, puts the Injustice in Metropolis in a bubble, and takes them over to the planet Telos to battle it out. And they're like, no!
And then after that, Tempest Fuginaut shows up, says, this is... But then he dies. He's not That'd be great. I love that. See, that's the thing. That's why we know that the multiverse heals itself. The Injustice world was completely burned to the ground because they didn't want to...
Well, look, Jim, the multiverse, they say the multiverse heals itself, but we also know that, let's say it doesn't bullshit heal itself because that's nonsense, but we do know the multiverse was remade, so that makes it okay.
That is true. Well, you know what can't be remade or healed, Eric? A broken heart.
Love?
That's what I've heard. And I always have a broken heart, Eric, but what would you give this?
Ultimately, I would give this a 5.5 out of 10, because even though I think the art looks great and I look forward to this each and every month, it's like I said at the beginning, it's a walking tour of injustice like we had last issue, and nothing really happens here. It's just John Kent showing you he's a good John Kent in a new situation, but all the situations are very just on-the-nose things that you can see and point out. Like, it's nothing that really forces John to have to act differently than he normally would for a good reason. It's just regular John talking to Batman like he normally would because of what Damian's done, what happened to Dick Grayson in the Injustice world. It's just not a lot of surprises. Jay Nakamura's here. Okay, parallel Jay Nakamura. But they sit on a couch and bullshit about stuff you already know until Damian comes at the end and, like, attacks Jay Nakamura.
Which is interesting, but...
It is, but it's an entire issue of nothing for the most part. Now, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt with a 5.5 because I still like the series. I just need to be less Injustice and more John Kent trying to fight Ultraman or getting his friends Valzad and Red Tornado out of the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, they're forgotten. That's what they are. Now, all in all, I think that maybe this could have played out better, been interesting if we didn't have the Injustice beforehand and we're just learning about it. You know, through John, we find out, oh my God, this Superman, he is sus, all that. But most people know at least the basics of Injustice. And to just this walking tour of it is what I say a lot of times when Tom Taylor does his politics. It's very surface level, even if you don't know about the Injustice, because it's repeated. I mean, if you didn't know anything about Injustice, you keep being told, okay, Superman, he ain't on the up and up. Oh, Superman, he ain't on the up. Oh, Superman's not on. You're just repeating. Does he think that people reading this are just so dense, like me, that they're not getting it? But we see it, and, you know, I can only think that we'll end up, as I said, an ambiguous deal. I'm 5 out of 10, just a straight up 5, but we'll end the section with what, Eric?
Shazam! Number 2, written by Mark Waid with art by Dan Mora, Alejandro Sanchez, and Troy Pateri. And if you remember the cliffhanger to the previous issue of Shazam saved the day, but for some reason something took over his mind, started calling all the people that he just saved pieces of crap and how much he hates them. Then he realizes, oh my God, what am I doing? And also in that, it looks like the gods and champions who give Shazam his power, who are now called the Captain, they're looking to get their power back and saying that maybe a boy isn't the best person to be the champion, the mightiest mortal. But in this issue, it's like, all right, we know that Billy Batson, he doesn't know what happened. What came over him with him saying all of these terrible things? The rest of the family saw it on the news. They want to know, Billy, why did you do this? I don't know. But all that information about, like, what could we surmise from, like, what's going on with the powers of Shazam, that Billy Batson would do this, it's all interrupted because a bureaucratic space dinosaur shows up and says, hey, in the previous issue, you done helped the dinosaur space family with their spaceship, but you use magic with their technology and on our planet. That's a big no-no. So I need you to fill out about 1 million pieces of paperwork. And for some reason, Mark Waid, which I enjoy Mark Waid writing a lot, but for some reason he thinks that space Tyrannosaurus Rexes are funny and bureaucracy is funny.
You're not having fun with this, Eric?
This is bullshit.
You're not having fun with this. Something that we even had somebody tweet to us that the minute they heard dinosaurs were in this issue, they went out and bought it. You're not having fun with this issue, Eric, because of the dinosaurs? Is that what you're telling me?
It's the beginning of why I'm not having fun with this whole thing, because why do we need more of the space Tyrannosaurus Rexes showing up for Billy to fill out paperwork she doesn't fill out? Mary has to fill this out. I just don't get the joke at this point in time. Like, yeah, you're going to jump in. It's a new series, Shazam #1. Billy's going to help out some, extraterrestrial Tyrannosaurus Rexes. Isn't that goofy and fun? All right, send them on the way. You don't repeat the joke. You move on to something else that's fun.
What I realize, you're the fun miser is what you are, Eric. See, I compliment you by the end, Eric. I just had that said. I knew that you'd have problems.
I know it. Don't patronize me.
At first it was, he's so dense. But then I thought, no, I like when you get like this because it makes me giggle and actually makes me look like a good guy. Before we get to Space Dinosaur, though, I actually really like Darla. I like that Darla's just thinking on her feet to just make everything about them getting their powers back. I think that may be too much power there, Billy. He's like, no, it's not that. And he's mad. Also, the idea of him saying this, I do like that Mark Waid is giving a shout out to all Philadelphians like me and you. The idea that Billy goes, no, those were my words. Like, I ended up, this wasn't me being manipulated. I was a real asshole, but that was all me. And I do like, as we go forward, seeing that we kind of said it and we made a little fun, but the idea that Freddy, he has more at stake of getting the powers than just, hey, I want to be part of the Shazam and things like that. This is his thing, and he really wants that. And I thought that was really, really cool. But in this, they're trying to figure out what's going on, and I do agree. And this is what I talked about. I say it all the time. But when Shazam was announced to be Mark Waid and Dan Moore, everybody was, they were excited. So was I. I think Dan Moore's art's great, though he might want to make Psycho Pirate less Iron Man, more Psycho Pirate, but we get all that.
I think it was fine. The Medusa Massacre's badass.
No, it's the idea of the eyes don't work for me. Usually you have those big round eyes.
Oh, you like it where you can see, well, not only that, but like the eyes where you can see the actual eyes underneath.
Yeah, so when he's surprised, you see, that's how I like it.
It's very Iron Man, though, looking at this. Still pretty badass.
It's still, it actually is badass, and we'll get to that. And the idea that I've been talking to you about, man, I really want a badass Psycho Pirate, and then, oh my, here he is. But in this, though, this whole play, I was worried because when you end up having Mark Waid writing this, I want something that's going to have a little more substance than World's Finest. I talk about this all the time. World's Finest, great, but it doesn't have the substance. It doesn't feel like it's that important because it's kind of a continuity askew. It's there for fun and whatnot. And I thought maybe, and we might get to it because this whole play of the gods, that's a pretty cool deal, a dark thing, something you have wanted for a while. But when we do end up having dinosaurs in the second issue, you could have waited at least 3 or 4 issues and have them come with this at a little bit of a cool down deal. But to have this right away, it just seemed silly. And you're not really going to deal with it. No. It's just there to be a joke. And it is pretty much.
This is what we get for having a talking tiger.
Yeah. And so you have that. And I'm like, all right, well, there's the paperwork. Oh, my God. And then Billy just walks away. And he goes with Freddy downtown. And this whole thing about trying to get the powers back and share them with the family, what I'm saying, it's pretty cool. And when they do end up going downtown, the art museum, all of a sudden everybody's running and screaming. And you do end up having that badass, Psycho Pirate. And he's causing everybody to lose their minds. And Freddy, being a smart kid, says, I think this might have been the deal. Maybe that whole yelling and screaming.
Somebody maybe was manipulating your emotions.
Yeah. And while Billy already said it was all him, maybe this is because he wouldn't know otherwise. So he thinks,
again, I just imagine out of nowhere, Psycho Pirate, I heard the Mona Lisa was on tour. It's at the Philadelphia Art Museum right now. I'm just going to head all on over to Philly because this is what I want. And at the exact same moment where Shazam has something happen to him where his emotions are out of control. So it's just one of those things that's so on the nose. Like, why couldn't it be like the bug-eyed Ben? Like, hey, why is he here? Doesn't matter. Let's take him out because, I have a specific problem. This guy who just happens to be in Philadelphia, who's usually not in Philadelphia, he happens to be here too. Is he the answer? No. Shucks. I'm like, it's so... Look, I'm fine with Psycho Pirate doing stuff because he looks badass and he can have fun here, especially with the idea where he throws his power at Billy and says, you are terribly afraid, like the courage of Achilles. I'm like, yeah, you use your power to overcome the Psycho Pirate. Like, that's a really cool way to use your power. You never see the captain do that. And I like seeing it here. But just the idea of how it's so on the nose for how it's working out, but it has nothing to do with what that actually happened to Billy Bassett is a little disappointing.
Yeah, it is a little disappointing, but one of the things that I did, and I'm assuming this is the art museum, the Philadelphia Art Museum, somebody has to tell them more, there's a little more stairs there. This is rocky shit here, and it looks like there's 5 stairs. I can even run up that.
I imagine that we're just like on one of the platforms to lead up to the next bit of stairs.
One of the other deal there, but it does look like there's like 8 steps, and then I could accomplish that. I'm rocky now, but you end up having all this. Maybe not. I'm like, how many stairs left? 7. Oh,
man, shit. Rocky had it hard.
I am not Rocky. I'm having a rocky hard time here. But you end up where, all right, Psycho Pirate wants to get the Mona Lisa because that expression, that's the ultimate emotion. He doesn't, I want to get it. It just leads to Billy turning into Shazam, the captain, and going in to stop him and stopping him at all costs with this. And in that, I don't know, some of these people are a little over the top of yelling at Shazam, yelling at the guy, then actually saying, all right, there's some bad shit going on here. Thank God you're here. It's all about the cost. And I'm talking the dollars and cents here of everything that Billy seems to be doing, including
he's a bit of a nuisance.
Space dinosaurs, though. It just, why is that the main focus of all this? It's just going to make Billy, by the end, say, I don't want to be Shazam anymore anyway. I'm just not going to say the word because everybody hates me. But
it's one of those things that we have, like in the new Shazam movie, Fury of the Gods, where everybody is kind of against the Shazam family when they come to save the day because they kind of like, half the time get things right, but a lot of destruction's there. So, like, I forget what the hell they called them in that, but they had a name for them to let them know that, like, they're kind of like,
the Sussumly. Yeah, well, they end up where Psycho Pirate runs, and he has the Mona Lisa. He's running away from Billy, Shazam the captain. And when he gets onto a train, he's like, hey, everybody, you hate this guy. See the man in red? I'm like, you're in red, too. Psycho Pirate, watch out who you're talking to. But he says you hate him with every fiber of your being.
The theatrical audience.
Yes, and now all of a sudden he can't punch people through this, but he does get mad. And the big play here is he almost kills Psycho Pirate. He has to save Psycho Pirate from himself.
Well, how cool is that speed of Mercury that we have here, where he actually shoots a bolt of lightning out of his hand, but then he realizes, like, his senses come to him at the last second, where he then rushes in front of the lightning to take his own blast because, oh my God, I almost killed somebody. I am not myself.
Exactly, and I like the way that it plays out, though. I think some people might have been confused because you do have that page turn, and then he's there doing it, but I thought it was well done, and he ends up, telling Psycho Pirate, you made me do this, but the thing is, he ended up stopping the train, almost like a Superman type deal, and the mask flew off of Psycho Pirate, so he says, I'm not doing anything now, my mask, it's over there, this is all on you, and that's where Billy realizes, oh no, it is.
I can never say the word again.
Yeah, and so you end up where the police show up and like, all right, well, we got the Psycho Pirate. Thanks a lot, but you really caused a lot of shit down, and you're going to have to pay for this. What, are you going to fix the train? You got the Mona. And he's like, fuck you.
It's such a weird idea, though, that we have with these stories, because we have this, it's 6-issue mini, right? The Shazam, right?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Okay, for some reason, I always get it mixed up in my head, whether it's 8 or 12, because they always do those weird numbers. So, like, I say always, but sometimes do that. I want to say that it's 6 issues. So it's such a weird idea when you have these come out, like we had Steel this week as well. And, like, I couldn't wait to get some Steelworks books. And, like, the first issue is like, I ain't going to be Steel no more. I'm like, well, that's not what I want. Second issue of Shazam, the 6-issue mini of the character that I love so much. I can never be Shazam again. I'm like, you don't start something out with Spider-Man no more. You get to a point of that. Now, again, you can say that we are because of how old the character is, but at least give me a moment of satisfaction where the character comes in with a story and you can show how great the character is before knocking the character down. Ultimately, for him to say, you know what, everything's good by the end, because I want to see the good parts first.
Yeah, and I think that we talked about it last time and said
it's even Blue Beetle graduation day.
I actually think this might be an ongoing. I think it might not be just a 6-issue mini. I think it might be ongoing. So we'll have
That'd be
to
weird.
See.
I'm telling you, I'm all about it. It's just that I assume all the time that it's going to be a 6-issue mini because, like, Shazam always has a problem, like, selling.
I know, and then last time I went to look, and I'm like, is this? But I'm looking at Previews World, which usually it will have the... Oh, no, this is different. This is Tim Sheridan. Now I'm at Tim Sheridan's, that crazy deal. But no, this seems to be a pretty much an ongoing. We'll have to see.
Good.
We'll see how it goes. So that'll be pretty cool. And if it's not, people can let me know. But with all that, by the end, you do get 2 epilogues. And the first one's the interesting one. And this is where we're going with this whole story. The idea where Freddy is in the Rock of Eternity sneaking around.
There's got to be something magical here to give me powers.
And he does think to himself, yeah, everybody, they're upset, but they're not really like me. Like, this is how they could still run around and play and whatnot, and I want to end up, being in this Shazamly deal. And he ends up overhearing some things, and he looks, oh my God, it's the gods. Now, the idea of them being mad about having a kid use the power seems to have changed a little bit, as if they're having their own contest to see who then will take over. But it's kind of a weird play here. And it does look like Zeus is back. I guess, the gods always come back, and that's how we have to go with it.
That is very disappointing that you have this, because we just got done Revenge of the Gods, where, Hera killed Zeus and did all of this where Zeus was dead. It always leads me to the question, how does Billy still have powers? The person who borrows the powers from is dead and gone, especially from what we had before. I think we talked about it in the first issue of Shazam, where when we had Shazam being infected by the Batman Who Laughs, that King Shazam was going around and killing the people that gave him his power. So, we should have a lot of these people taken off the board. If not, maybe they were reborn during the multiverse thing. But Zeus, at least, at this point in time, should be dead and gone.
Or it'd be funny where you do have Achilles like, really? Atlas, you think you're going to win this? And he's like, I'm going to win it. Look, Zeus is a damn baby. And you see Mercury's holding Goo Goo Gaga. It'd be pretty funny, but he's just there. Yeah, it'd be great. But in this, it seems, there's this contest going on, and then when the dust settles, the boy champion will be all mine, is what Atlas is saying.
Yes.
And he looks badass with his arm crossed, so I'm going with it, Eric. Though I think that Zeus will do something finagling by the end.
He's got some stamina, that Atlas.
Yeah, he does. But, Achilles is talking shit. They're all, and we see that.
Don't you mean Achilles? I do believe it's pronounced Achilles.
And you have Solomon and Hercules, which is funny, were the ones in the shadows last issue. We find out that they're just the schmucks that already lost. So, them hanging, they can do all they want. But you end up, Freddy, oh my God, this is crazy. I got to warn. Oh no. Here we go. And it looks like Mercury kind of zips right there and says, hey, what the fuck are you doing, asshole? Oh shit. And you end up, even, I like what Mercury does say, okay, this is unfortunate. He's not like, I'm going to kill you or anything, but maybe this can lead to the idea, I don't know. It's a weird play. Maybe Mercury will feel bad for Freddy and he'll just get the speed of Mercury. I don't know. I don't know how this will all play out, but it seems
on
like
crutches,
when they end up where they're going to go and fight it out and whoever wins gets to claim Billy. But Billy, in the meantime, he's like, fuck this. I'm done.
It's such a weird idea that the gods and champions are battling out for the idea to take on the mightiest mortal, the captain here. But what happens to the powers? They're we just get our powers back? You're not the winner doesn't take on all of the powers then, because the idea is it has to go to a mortal champion.
Yeah, and it's a weird play. If it's unwillingly given, the idea that Atlas is going to go against, the captain who has the power of that, but everything else as well. We'll have to see how it plays out. And then we get a second epilogue, and this is just Mary.
Mary's sleepy.
She's like, is there a name for something when you're exhausted but not sleepy? I think that might be insomnia, who is the villain coming up, but that's what I would say, Mary. And then she falls asleep. Oh no, night terrors. There you go. I'm like, all right. I love the idea. Some people were real impressed with this. Oh man, it's really great. I'm like, really, it's one thing. It's one page where she falls asleep. That's it. So we'll see.
I'm telling you, she's exhausted from doing dinosaur paperwork. Is going to play a video game and passes out immediately. I'm like, all right, Mary, you did it.
You
Night
did
terrors.
Dinosaur paperwork, right to Night terrors with a K. You're in. All right, Eric, you love it. You love the fun. But yeah, we'll go on with.
And again, I love the fun, but where was the fun here? Where do you think that the fun exists in this issue?
I actually like the whole concept of everything else. The dinosaur stuff, if people like that, fine. But that was nothing. Really, by the end, really all it was to get Mary all tired and fall asleep.
Paperwork's a bitch.
The dinosaur bureaucrat is what leads this book into Night Terrors. So
he's the real villain.
Dinosaur bureaucrat. That's what I'm saying. That is the real villain.
Oh, wait, that's
of
me.
All of this, but you are. But what would you give this a?
It's a weird thing because I love the art of Dan Moore. I love everything that we're doing to reestablish Captain Marvel as a real hero in the DC universe, and not just somebody that people play with occasionally and get wrong constantly. We are doing a new status quo for Billy Batson, and I appreciate all the work and effort that's going into this. And even the idea where we have the background story of Billy his powers are acting, not even his powers acting wonky, he's acting wonky personally, and how he's like, lashing out at people, trying to do like, almost like he is still King Shazam for being infected by the Batman Who Laughs, or how he's acting towards people, almost killing Psycho Pirate. I love the parts with Psycho Pirate and him battling out, even the show with how Captain Marvel overcomes Psycho Pirate with the courage of Achilles. I think that's really cool. But just having a character that affects emotions right here in Philadelphia just throws me off because it's so like such a forced idea. But it's still really cool ultimately. But that's really what I enjoy in this book. Yeah, getting the stuff with Freddy at the Rock of Eternity and seeing the gods and champions all kind of huddling around trying to do more of whatever their evil plot's going to be. That's fine too. It's still very short-lived. So I'm going to give the second issue of Shazam, again, one of my favorite characters, and I can't wait for the next issue of this, even if it happens to be a Night Terrors type thing. But I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 because I wasn't all of that impressed ultimately with what we got for the through story. Like, I just felt let down at every turn besides for the big battle with Psycho Pirate and Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I ended up, saying some things with the art, but I do love the art. It's great. The art is great in this, and I'm a little more positive. The idea of the dinosaurs, it's there. It doesn't
I'm going to go
increase my
6.5.
score. Yeah, I'm going 7.5, so I'm actually a point ahead, but it's more for the idea. Now, it would have been hilarious if not only did, Psycho Pirate say, listen, I didn't make you try to kill me, my mascot, but it also fell off before all the alpha Philadelphians attacked Shazam. And then he's like, that was just on them. I mean, Philadelphia's an awful place. It would have made me laugh so much. But I thought it was forced with the idea of like, let's keep track of all the shit that's, the captain's messing up and things like that with the Mona Lisa and stuff. But I do like...
I kind of like the idea where he is affecting all of these things. Like, he wants to be one of the greatest heroes along the lines of a Superman, but people aren't accepting him because he keeps destroying shit, especially because he's taking things... he's doing things the wrong way because he's not in control of his own emotions.
Well, the thing is, they're yelling because, he got shot at with tons of guns? That's what happened there. He didn't really do that much. He was getting shot at.
Philadelphia doesn't have a relief fund like Gotham or Metropolis.
I'm saying the idea that you're sitting there and people are bitching and moaning, and we just got out of a dark crisis where shit was just burning down everywhere. It's kind of silly. It doesn't really fit overall, but I get the concept. I think it's just a little bit overplayed, but it's, it's what it is. But once he almost kills, now that means something. That actually, hits like that, and him being able to stop himself there with the speed of Mercury was really, cool. Really good. I really like the stuff with, Freddy trying to figure out why he would do that. And I'm telling you, I love when Darla's just anything that pops up, she's going to say, well, maybe it's because you have all the power. And he's like, listen, I told you, Darla. But when he ends up saying, hey, there's Darla, she'll talk to a coffee table that had, I'm like, oh, now you're dissing her. I don't like that. No,
it's just so funny, though, because you have the Shazam way going on here, and you have the main three that have always been the staple with Freddy, Mary, and Billy, but the New 52 characters that came in, Darla you can always do stuff with because she's adorable, and she can just say anything, and you'll just instantly love the character. There's never anything for Eugene or Pedro to do.
Eugene gets nothing. Pedro, again, Mark Waid even goes to just the surface level. Pedro's probably asking for workout tips. I'm like, I don't know.
Why would he ask? Look at those T-Rex arms.
That's what I'm thinking of. Just think of the T-Rex trying to do bench press. You're like, come on. Oh, that's all he's got. Those little arms. But kind of a funny deal. Do you like the monocle and the top hat? Usually that always tickles my fancy.
Obviously, I do not. It's space dinosaur bureaucrat with a monocle and a top hat.
Yeah, and the whole play.
And what appears to be a magic briefcase.
And the big deal is
magic and science. We can't have those doing it, bet together.
So there you go. But with that, I am still a little more positive than you, but actually way lower than a lot of people that I saw. People are getting a kick out of space dinosaur bureaucrat. But
why?
With that, we are, I know, because it's just funny. You don't see it much here. But with There's that, reasons. We're going to go on and we're going to go off to some mail right about now. And this is the mail, Eric. I hit the thing to unmute my mic and it didn't work at first. Hey, everybody.
It works fine.
The mail. And if you want to get involved in the mail section, just like Eric Shea, Craig, and Gray, you can end up emailing us at weirdsciencedc@gmail.com. And we're going to start with Craig, who says, just Dear Jim. Oh, my, Craig. He's playing the game right, is what I think.
What's up, Craig?
I'm not sure if we've ever had Eric's opinion on Karg. I'm saying he's the most metal of all He-Man's foes. But what does Eric say? What do you think?
That's the full mail?
Well, that's what he's asking here.
This asking, okay.
Your opinion of Karg.
Well, Karg's such a weird thing because I'm sure, like me, you in 1987 couldn't wait to see the Masters of the Universe movie when it came out, and so Karg was one of the characters they created for that movie, like Saw-Rod and Blade. And out of all those three, it's funny because Karg didn't get an action figure made from that movie. Blade and Saw-Rod, they got action figures to go along with the rest of your He-Man toys, but not Karg, who scared the hell out of me as a kid. Such a weird idea. Like, what's your opinion of Karg? I'm like, he's a creepy-looking made-up monster for the movie, and there's nothing really. I'm sure they've done more with him over the years, in like different medium comics and even like new action figures. But from what I had from growing up, like as a kid, just watching him on the big screen, he was a scary monster man that worked for Skeletor, and I didn't have an action figure of him, which really upset me because I wanted action figures of everything.
Yeah. Now, the idea of him being the most metal, I mean, that really goes against my mind, thinking that would be Ram Man, but that's just me.
Ram Man wasn't in that movie. No.
The whole general deal and his outfit. There's
nothing real metal about Ram Man.
The Ram Man.
He almost feels like a boomer trying to get in a mosh pit. Like, what are you boys up to?
Yeah, but then when they're like, man, you're not metal, and they're like, well, he does have that plate armor at points, so he's a bit metal, but a different way. But with all that, he just wants to know what you thought of Karg, and he found out. But then he goes, I was just reading in this week's Podcaster magazine. They call that pod. I was going to say poddy, but that's the awards for podcast, as we have said before. Podcast magazine, I guess it is. And in their rumors page, which I always go to, obviously, it's so good. They're saying it is possible Eric could propose live on episode 500. Jim, have you heard anything about this? I have heard the rumors.
It's weird.
They have in that rumor deal.
The thing is, you're thinking about it all wrong, though. I might propose we end the podcast at 500.
Well, that's what I'm going with. And seriously, you've already done that 100 times. So I'm saying bets are pretty good that might happen. So we'll see. You'll have to tune in to the live episode 500 to see what exactly Eric does propose, because I think that's the little swerve they're doing at that rumors section.
Always trying to get you. Well, you weren't technically wrong. You just thought about it differently. Oh, you rumors.
I mean, it was a proposal. Those rumors, they always do that. Do you like the rap / kind of singing song rumors from back in the day? Did you like that?
I can't recall it off the top of my head. You don't
remember that? It was like, everybody talking rumors. It was bad. I actually listened to it last night. I was going through a bunch of things like UTFO and Cameo, watched a bunch of videos from New Edition. I was having some fun rocking out, right?
Yeah.
And he says, keep up the work.
We will.
Yours,
for now.
Craig. Yeah, really. Keep it up until that episode.
You keep it up, Craig. See what happens.
Oh, Craig. Yeah, well, maybe Craig is going to keep it up. I don't know. But Gray is next. Gray ends up saying, Dear Jim and Eric, I have a confession. Some years ago, I stumbled on your podcast. All I can remember about it is some crazy guy singing his head off.
Dancing Mike.
When I thought that probably would have been at that point Dancing Mike. And I thought I was getting a comic book review showing all I was getting is the singing. Like the poor misguided fool I am, I switched off and took solace in a much lesser quality podcast. Eric, oh my. Years later, I rediscovered you via the accursed review site, Comic Book Roundup. That site sucks these days, but you don't. Or do we, Eric? I don't know. It depends on who you ask.
You listen to Gray.
Right? Gray loves it. Do you see themselves? They think we're sus. You guys make my drive to work a thing of pure, unadulterated joy. And he's driving to Japan. He's from Japan, Eric. That's because I listen to you muted. So you're not really listening to anything.
I didn't realize this was a bit section.
Gray is working material. I love
Take
you
my
both.
Podcast, please.
Please. I mean, really. And that's what we'll be saying at 500. I love you both. And I'm working on visas to get you over here, which is Japan, and working in my seriously sus karaoke snack bar, which Eric would call a gig.
Why wouldn't I?
For minimum wage, of course. I'll go with that, right? You'll be there, like you'll drop your glasses, you'll step on them, it'll all come back to you.
I'll take my hair out of my ponytail, really let it flow.
If me and you were going to work at and do karaoke, what would me and you do together? Would we do your nonsense? What was that one that you ended up doing that crazy Cabbage Patch dance to and ended up stepping on your glasses?
I wasn't doing a Cabbage Patch. It was a routine that we always do. No, it was Roses.
Oh, Roses. What the fuck is that? I thought you were doing like Kid and Play or something. And doing that move where you grab your one leg and jump through it. Like the thing that I would end up in traction.
Exactly. The thing is, I would do that, but I would fall on the goddamn ground. There's nothing recovering from that.
I think people would actually pay to see us attempt that. It'd be so great.
I do want to do the dance where we kick our feet together at the end, though, as we're backing up, we put our foot out and it touches each other.
And we'll do that, but we're definitely doing the Milli Vanilli jump chest bounce, but I'm going to have to really get a trampoline or something to get up there.
I'm telling you, though, with this hair, though, I need to oil myself up, get like a fake saxophone. I can still do it. I still believe.
Oh, we can do that?
No, this is my solo bit. You're not there.
Can we do Milli Vanilli? Blame it on the rain. Can me and you do that?
Yes,
Maybe
yes, we can.
Do that. But Summer Lovin' would be
I'm going to lip sync just like them.
I'm guessing that you'll have me do the Sandy part of the Summer Lovins. Is that, or do you want to have that part?
Honestly, I kind of want to have the Sandy part because I think it's funny you being the man because it's ridiculous to think of that.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I just want to see you sing, and then we'll dance it up and maybe get a bunch of other people to do the other parts there. Well, that'd be pretty fun. That'd be fun times, Eric. I was working on something before we were talking about like different things that we can do on the Patreon, and I was working still on trying to get a karaoke thing that we might be able to do. Of course, that's just going to lead to me singing a bunch of songs and, with my nonsense, but I did kind of work that out. We used to have a movie night. I'd like to do that as well. But here he continues, I don't have a proper question. I just want to know what Eric really thinks about Grant Morrison's comics.
Which comics? Because some suck, some are okay.
Yeah, I'm actually appreciating more. And if people didn't know, I end up doing a show with Gray from Wakasashi's Tea House on YouTube. And we end up talking about Morrison books every week. And we have gone through The Invisibles. We just ended up finishing the first trade of Doom Patrol. And nice. I liked it. And it actually made me appreciate it. I liked it. And I helped. I ended up, I say that. I drown Gray out. I can't stop talking, Eric. I'm a chatterbox. I am.
I know, man. I've been on the podcast.
Exactly. But with all that, I actually am appreciating Dennis Culver's Doom Patrol, even though I think that the Grant Morrison stuff is obviously better. But I am kind of appreciating it a little bit more, a little teeny bit more, Eric. So okay. I do appreciate it.
A teeny little bit more.
Me and Gray are going to go back to the second trade of The Invisibles. You would not like that. That is a wacky-ass shit.
Just let me know when you finally get the JLA and do all of the JLA.
Well, me and you already did some of that when we had the shutdown.
We did like the first arc, yeah.
We did the first trade. So if we ever did it, I guess we'd go back and do it again because Gray. But yeah, I will put a link to the Wakasashi's Tea House deal for his YouTube, Gray's YouTube, in the show notes so that you can go and check me out over there. Check me out, my friend. Oh my! I'll be all over the place this week. I'm a hot commodity. That's what happened. Yeah,
hot potato.
I'm gonna be on Nerdy Girl's manga show on her YouTube deal on Tuesday. You're gonna see me there, right?
What's your name's on that channel?
And so we'll have that. And I'm telling you, I'm worried because she knows way more than I do, and I'm just gonna sound like an idiot. But I'm used to that too. And then I'll be doing all sorts of other things all over the place. Don't know where those places are, but I'm going to be doing them. I'm a hot commodity. I am. Hot potato. And so Gray says, best wishes, Gray in Japan, a.k.a. Wakasashi's Tea House. And that is the mail. Just remember what we learned here. I'm a hot commodity, Eric, and I'll help.
Hot potato.
But we're going to end there. Hot potato. You're doing the Wiggles now with me? You know, we're going to go off now. We have 3 more books to end the
Australian,
podcast.
Right?
Yes, they are. But we're going to go off. We have 3 more books. Some sus, maybe all sus. I don't know. We'll see what's going on, but we'll be back with those in just a moment. That is Eric Shea, and he's always getting those damn Transformers. He cannot stop getting them. That's you, Eric.
I bought like 1 Transformer in like a year.
Exactly. That's too much. You're an adult. Grow up, you son of a bitch. But here we are. We have 3 books to end.
You just grow.
Go, right? I'm going to grow a fist.
Yeah? You're going to grow a fist there? Grow an IQ.
And I'm going to plant it right in your face, asshole. There you go. See, I made it work, Eric, I think.
Yeah, you just got to get a step stool first.
Plant it in there. Yeah, I'll get a step stool, all right? Or else I'll just take you out at the knees, and then you'll be below, kick you right in the face. Boom. Bada big bada boom. But here we are. We have 3 books to end this whole deal. We're going to start with a book that boy, we haven't had this one in a while. Everything that pops up, I'm like, whoa, what happened with this one? Penultimate issue, though, Dark Knights of Steel, number 11, written by Tom Taylor with art by Yasmin Boutry, Ari Friano, and Wes Abbott. Away we go, Eric. And boy, at the beginning, I was like, where were we? Because it was kind of, okay, you got to get your bearings. And I don't know, maybe Tom Taylor, I'm not saying things aren't right here, but maybe he's like, well, I don't really care what happened before because we got to end this shit. So let's force some things that seem to be really cool and might have been what would drive this whole series.
Like the idea of Bruce Wayne being the half-brother of, Superman Clark Kent?
Yeah, but when we ended up, if you remember back in the
not
day...
Clark Kent of this world, obviously.
Back in the day, we ended up talking about this, and I ended up saying, I don't think that Tom Taylor's going to go down that route, that they're going to fight. I bet you they're just going to love it. But we never got really anything from it until this issue where they hug. They hug, Eric. There they go.
That's the thing is, I'm your brother. You're my brother. I've always thought of you as my brother. But what about Alfred? Is he still like a father to you? You know he's still like a father to me. But what about those damn Martians? Well, we had a piece of kryptonite that fell down. That's our weakness. You and I could both be affected by this. But how could they possibly ever do anything with that meteorite of kryptonite without fire? Their weakness? We need to see them use their laser vision to go and freaking, tear open this meteorite and make a kryptonite sword for the final battle.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, really? Like, it's kryptonite. It's a rock, number one. This isn't a metal. I don't think you have to melt it. You could just chip it and make a fucking spear like they do anyway. I mean, really, what fire do you need to make a fucking stone arrowhead?
I do say that it is a sword, but it essentially is a spear where they just take, I don't even know, a piece of somebody's shirt and wrap up in it, and now we have a handle.
I can just imagine the idea. Well, they're not
a shard.
They're not going to be able to fashion anything out of that meteorite without fire. They've never heard of like a chipping away. You don't say chipping away at the stone. The Aerosmith does not have that song in this universe. They don't have it, Eric. I'm sitting there thinking, are you that dumb? Are you really that dumb? And then it's just to get to the next thing of, oh no, we didn't see that coming.
Well, it's so funny though, the idea like, okay, you have these white Martians, definitely afraid of fire. It's their one true weakness. And I just think to myself, well, it's so over the top with everything that we do because now they're not just weak to fire. These motherfuckers won't be coming to 50 freaking miles of a fire for how we're setting things up. But it's their weakness. You know who else's weakness it is? Us goddamn humans who use fire all the time.
Thing, right? I mean, this is the thing that always comes into play here.
Oh my God, they put on gloves. What are we going to do now?
People end up doing things differently. They end up where sometimes it's just a psychosomatic, oh my God, they get triggered PTSD from, all the things that happened in the Martians back in the day. It's psychological. It ends up. But when you go and say it's a weakness, like you can't even cook with, that oven. Oh shit, get out of here. It's my weakness.
Raw foods.
Seriously? Like the idea that they have Martians here. I'm seeing them zipping around and flying, but yet a fire moat is going to stop them. They're not going to have to swim through that damn fire.
Make sure if you walk down this hallway, you carry a torch with you because, Martians. It's pretty dark down there. I was going to do that anyway.
And then the idea, I love the idea where they're like, what will we do? Oh, don't worry. The meteorite, they can't use fire because they're so scared of it. So all they need to do is throw this big giant ass meteorite on the mall. Just get them near it. You could just actually put it in a wagon.
Or use their super strength.
Yeah. Or like I said, maybe use a hammer and a chisel.
Or just put on gloves and use fire.
Yeah. Or use fire like you would normally when you're cooking. I'm telling you, I don't want to get fucking burned, but I'm there cooking and, well, maybe. That's why
I have seen you see something that's red hot burning metal and you're like, I gotta touch that. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Because I'm a real man. I'm not like these assholes, these white Martians. They can go stick it. I'm the white Martian, Eric. I'm there. So the idea that you're really hinging on this where the whole players, everybody just light shit on fire. We need the fire. We have moats, not with water. But here's the thing. They'd also probably drown. So, you know what I mean? Like,
they're
really? Fire. Like, they can't just fly. They can fly, so they can go to wherever and then just come straight down on top of everyone. there, you're done. But nope, they're not going to get near us because they're afraid of it. No, it's not a weakness like that, but some people play that up.
Look, obviously we got to do something. Because when we have old Alfred, who happens to be Jean Johns, in the dungeon, before, tied up with the lasso of truth, we have Protex, the white Martian leader, come down to talk about how abysmal it is that this guy decided to go and work with the humans, be a human, because we're so much above them. So obviously we need to go and do something with fire, make the walls out of fire, make everything out of fire, because these damn white Martians just keep getting into our houses with their Green Lantern rings, which I really wish we'd understand how this Green Lantern ring got to this Protex.
I don't get it. But you end up where, oh my God, look. Get them, and you end up having Bruce, and you have to set it up before. And a lot of this is also set up because it's been a dog's age since we've even had this book of like, hey, I'm just like you. Your dad was my dad. I'm Bruce Wayne. I got the powers. You got the heat vision too? Certainly do. It's only because he's then going to use it when Protex is there in
Can't fly that good yet.
Cell. No, and they say we're going to toss you off. I mean, that's the type of person that Cal is here.
Stop telling people you're going to toss them off.
You end up, he's going to toss him off there. So you end up where Bruce is yelling, use fire. It hits Protex. And I love the idea where Protex, he's on fire, but it's just because he's afraid of that. And that's a weakness. No, it's because he's organic.
And he's singed pretty damn bad here.
And shit catches on fire. I mean, again, this would be me, you, everybody. Yeah, if you are superpowered, say, an L, that maybe that doesn't affect you. But there's a whole lot of people whose weakness is fire. And so you end up with all that. And, oh, my God, we save Alfred. Great. And then they just yell and they pretty much give the announcement, light everything on fire.
Make giant bonfires here, make the moat, carry a torch, do all this. As you see all the preparations of the Kingdom of El, and pretty much everybody just working together through the kingdom. They're like the Amazons, the Kingdom of Storms, and the Kingdom of Els. They're all working together now for their common threat, but we just got to grab a bunch of shit and burn it, because that's what our game plan is now. Burn everything. And you got Bruce talking, Green Martian Alfred. Is there enough flame to keep them at bay? The whites are cowards. They will not face this. I'm like, well, you better keep burning shit, because this is going to burn out pretty fast. And Poison Ivy, who's in charge of the forest there, it's like, you can have all the deadwood. You touch any of my living trees, your ass is grassing on the lawnmower.
Yeah, really. Also, they should just say, hey, it's fire, walk with me, this issue. But when you're going through this, again, we're going to have
confusing.
We're going to have, sorry. You're going to have those things like a Tom Taylor issue does. And if you like it, I'm sure you'll like this. The idea, hey, I didn't know that, I was your brother, but Bruce, you've always been my brother. And that usually gets me. This is, Man of Steel and Pa Kent. I am your father. But it's not getting me here because I've seen it too many times in the Tom Taylor book. We had this shit with the seas. We
the
keep
way
getting
it's done, it's so lackluster that you want to have the feels for it. And I don't feel like, besides for a single hug, there's not really any emotion, any of the drama that felt like it was being built up to. And even when you had the reveal previously where Alfred is, the Martian Manhunter, when Bruce finally confronts him about, is this enough fire, guy? And also, I still consider you like a father to me. That we get for 3 pages, but it's nothing like the idea like you would think, because it's still the Alfred of this world. Yes, it's also Martian Manhunter, but you know that Bruce Wayne loves Alfred Pennyworth in any kind of world, even if he's a Green Martian, but it just, I don't ever feel like anything, and this is only revealed from last issue, like the stuff with Bruce Wayne being a half Kryptonian, all the drama involved with that. Like I said, it comes down to 2 pages and a hug. Never feel the gravitas of the situation for what the series started out feeling like it was this really cool, different story that you're not getting anywhere else at DC Comics that could do anything it wanted. And when it decided, oh my God, Jor-El banged Martha Wayne, and we had a son who's half Kryptonian. He's Bruce Wayne. He doesn't know. We can't tell the young boy that he's a bastard son of a Kryptonian. But when he finally does find out, and he thinks that Superman is trying to kill him because it's a white Martian in disguise. All this stuff was building up to all this great gravitas and drama, and it never went anywhere. But it's like, oh wait, the white Martians, they're bad, they're imposters, and you and I were brothers. Hug it out, done.
And the white Martians and the reveal of Alfred. The problem I have with the reveal of Alfred is when he ends up being, oh my God, it's John Johns. John Johns is a good guy too, what we would normally think. So in this, you never really got, except they're like, oh my God, a Martian, take him down. But Bruce would have never have thought, oh my God, this is bullshit. I thought you were this or that. He's still, whether John Johns, Alfred, it's still the guy who raised him and he looked at him as a father. There was never that point where you thought any different. So when you get this and it's extended, it's nice enough. I don't know why you had to even throw in. I mean, you really are trying to lay it heavy with, well, I can't be lying to you because I have the lasso. I'm like, why would you be lying? There's no reason for us to think you were any.
Thank God you were holding onto that rope, or I would have doubted it.
Yeah, I'd love it if he dropped the rope and he's like, and by the way, I'm really pissed at you. That's just him being tough. It's weird. It's kind of silly.
It's a lot of things that have been built up that we got to, and even this, I'm telling you, this happened last issue, but it's been built up for the idea of impersonations, people being played against each other.
But we never thought that this was sus in any sort of way, even when it was
honestly,
revealed,
I think
right?
they all should have been green Martians instead of white Martians just to go with the Green Man prophecy. But the Green Man, I guess, is just protext with the Green Lantern ring. But it never feels like right because even when you have the idea, it's like, all right, we've been being played against each other by these lousy white Martians. The man I consider the father figure to me, he's actually a green Martian. I'm cool with it, but this perspective where things aren't always what they seem, well, now I have a new perspective on life because all those metahumans and magic users that I've had locked up in a dungeon for months to years, I'm just going to let their asses out, let bygones be bygones.
And because this is, an alt universe, you have this deal, you can do things, but again, this is that like surface level deal where, okay, hey, everybody, we were wrong. We're going to let you out. And, some of them are like, I don't know if I like that. You kind of seem like bullshit. And then you get to play with Zaz. It's like, I went out, or a calendar man, actually. I went out. No, you're sus. Oh, damn it. But then you end up, having Ollie.
It's weird, though, with Oliver Queen, though, because I thought we had in a Dark Knights of Steel annual issue or a special issue where him and Dinah had broken out.
Yeah, but I guess they're back there. Here's the thing. Even with that, though, it is just the woe is me. We were wrong. Sorry. We're going to give you some money.
Everybody, we're all working together.
But we're going against the bad guys now, so let's go. And okay.
You tortured me. Shut up. We're working together now. Stop holding grudges. Vendetta much?
Why are you holding a grudge? Come on, let's go. Stop holding a grudge. Start holding a bow and a sword. Let's get your ass out there.
Would somebody get this guy a sandwich so he'd stop belly aching?
Also, what I'm thinking through all this, I'm like, all right, if you're really going to play this, you got any fire-based villains in here? Get those guys. Or heroes even. Let's get them out and going. But no. And then you just end up having the idea that, Laura wants to go forward and, hey, we're going to let everybody, we're all joining together. Everybody's camping out. We're going to go.
Do you think that's wise? And like Amanda Waller's bitching and moaning the entire time. Like, I don't think we should do this. We're mortal enemies. Yes, but we have a bigger enemy. Well, look, you are the queen, but I do not advise that we all work together because, mortal enemies and such, only to find out that Amanda Waller this entire time has been working with the white Martians and possibly just overthrow the Elves because she's tired of being run by stinking aliens.
Yeah, I guess. And she goes off. Whatever
Which is weird.
Your will is, I'll be off.
Work with other aliens.
And again, the missed opportunity for me here was we thought she was going to have a Suicide Squad. This would have been cool. She kind of did, but
she had that shot as an archer.
She bitches and moans here about how she buried a lot of people. I get it, but she storms off. While then you end up having, Laura reveal, hey, let's go see the ship that we ended up coming here in. And, oh my God, look at this crystal. It's got plans. It's going to make a crystal rock version of the Phantom Zone projector so we know how we'll get rid of the...
I just thank God the Kryptonians who showed up here on this Earth, with these plans that they had to make a Phantom Zone projector with this crystal technology. I just thank God they weren't weak to fire so they could make this whole thing by melting down this metal.
They can actually use a furnace and some molten stuff that is good, Eric. Thank God they're so much better than the white Martians because they're afraid of it. So you end up and, hey, here, I just like the idea. It's like, we could do this. We use the fam. Like, you are really just throwing stuff at us here.
I just want to know, though, how you fashion a technological marvel of a Phantom Zone projector in this backwater freaking medieval planet.
Well, you get a forge, Eric, and you blow on it at one point, right? I mean, how are you going to get me out of this?
We have made a mold. I'm saying, though, we have molted down some metal to make a mold the basic build of a Phantom Zone projector. Where are we getting all the components to actually send somebody's asses there?
They're a little more savvy than you making those wooden glasses back in the day. Remember that shit where you're making the wooden frames?
Stuff. Yeah.
It didn't work very well.
Sometimes you make some stuff. Well, I was afraid of fire.
They're making, thank God. Thank God you weren't afraid of that belt sander that you ruined.
I ain't weak to belt sanders.
You were pretty good with that. And then why is there wood fragrance?
Because I was making a I was making a 3-foot vampire steak in case shit gets bad.
That's true. We were prepared for a vampire takeover.
I do think Royer threw that away, too. I'm very disappointed because it's nowhere to be found.
All of this going down, they have a Phantom Zone projector there, which is pretty much looks like it's got a bunch of, like, leather strappings.
Yeah, honestly,
and
it looks as good as my wooden glasses frames.
What it looks like is some asshole like Martin from the set bringing a geode into school. Here, witness my wonderful geode. That's all it is. And then you go off and see that, well, without fire, it looks like, the whole White Martians were able to chisel out a bunch of fucking spears. So there you go.
Good.
And then Amanda Waller.
Spears for everybody.
Really, the one good thing about this, though it is kind of forced by the end, but it's kind of cool, is the idea that Amanda Waller shows up. And you think that she's there to kind of stop the nonsense, but we find out, no, she's in the nonsense. But the White Martians at this point are like, fuck this. We don't need you. Because we find out she's a double agent that Amanda Waller's
it's actually kind of cool where you expect Amanda Waller to be sus because obviously in any kind of world, I think Amanda Waller is going to be sus, but the one cool thing about this situation where she does approach the White Martians who she was working with and wants to continue work with, she has a protection spell. If you get inside her personal bubble, your ass gets lit on fire. And that's just something that's going to keep her protected this entire time, at least from White Martians. Like, well, that's pretty cool because one of these assholes grabs a hold and just sets up fire. Stop burning my man. Can't. He broke my bubble.
Yeah. And that shows that she's thinking ahead. She got that spell on her, probably, from whatever. But yeah, she's doing her deal. But again, by the end, here's what we get. Cal, he's a pretty good guy. He accepts Bruce as his brother because, they're bros.
Superman.
Okay. We end up where Bruce, he loves Alfred. It doesn't matter what type of thing he is.
And he realized he was wrong about all those metas and magic
Then
uses
he was wrong about the metas, right?
Yeah.
We get that because he's a good guy. And at the end, we find out that Amanda Waller's sus and likes to do things underhanded. Oh, my goodness gracious. I can't believe it.
White Martians are afraid of fire?
Yeah, and they're afraid of fire. You say? Holy shit. I don't know what's going on. But you can play that. You usually have this, but when you hinge everything on just everybody acting how they would, it kind of loses what you had at the beginning, at least. You thought that you were going to have this bit of a... You thought it was going to be a Game of Thrones shit. You thought Jon Snow crap and all this stuff going on with Bruce, but yet, nope, we're just going to end with everybody gets along. Kumbaya together. We'll give you money later because we were kind of sus, and let's go fight these White Martians. And even the idea
of Constantine bringing back, the young prince who was killed. He originally wanted to bring back Jefferson Pierce the king, but he didn't do that. He brought back his young son. That idea of bringing him back and what it does for the story, it does nothing anymore. We have Harley, Lois Lane, and Constantine, who are the, I'm trying to think of that, the mentors, but the people who whisper in their leaders' ears and give them
the advisors. They're the advisors.
That's the word I'm looking for.
That's what
they're
all
together trying to figure out what to do because nobody reckoned, even the White Martians, of these three ever getting together. But
what are they going to do in one issue anyway?
Constantine's going to maybe do some magic. I don't know. Yeah,
you have a bunch of wingdings as well. And then the idea of this Phantom Zone projector, I keep thinking okay, this is Elseworlds. I guess it's not Black Label. It's not listed, but you can kill people. And I think that Phantom Zone projector is just so the elves don't just light because really all they have to do, I see these White Martian assholes. There doesn't seem to be too many of them. Go and heat vision their ass and kill them. Just kill them right now, but you're not going to want to do that, I guess. So you have to have a way.
I'm gathering my super family. I'm going into space using my telescopic vision, figure out where they are, and heat visioning them from space.
And heat vision it like it's a satellite that just shoots a laser down and just done. Done. I hate to use the deal, but turn these White Martians to ash right now, and they're done with. But yet I think that it's the elves wouldn't really do that. And so we have a Phantom Zone projector out of nowhere. And we'll do that. I mean, and really, I love the idea, too, is oh, man, should we make the Phantom... every problem that happened, you have should we make the Phantom Zone projector now? No, let's wait. All right. It's just there. The idea you could have used this for maybe some other shit down the... But no, it's there now. It's an easy way out without killing people. And we'll see how this ends up.
We killed a lot of people in this. It's just all White Martians.
Yeah, it's just weird at the end. They don't want the elves to be because then you could even explain it. If you ended up having the deal, hey, why don't we just go kill them right now? Well, everybody's on edge about us being aliens and shit, so we can't really do that.
You do that. You show a strong, a strong force right there to show why you should be in charge of this planet.
And even not even in charge of the planet, you do this to protect the planet, and then let's see what goes on. And if somebody's scared, whatever, so be it. But you are
Dungeon
protecting
time.
everyone, so. And then you rule with an iron fist, Eric, is what I do. And you know what? Most of the people on this planet, you know what can hurt them as well? Fire.
Oh,
so you just do that. Oh, my goodness gracious.
I don't even like the word.
The art looks great, though.
Sure does.
It does look great. And you do set up a bunch of things for the next issue. It's just by this point, with all the delays and everything going on, it just feels rushed.
Everything's petered out.
And it's petered out is my big problem. The excitement
this used to be on your and my pull list for how excited we were, for how different and interesting the story was.
And that's the thing. It was so different and interesting, right?
And everything seemed like it was building up to this big crescendo. As soon as we had the actual reveal of the Martians, which I expected from the get-go, but not white Martians, green Martians, but it just fizzled out to like, all right, we're all just going to work together now on fire. I'm like, it's almost become the idea, like, what we had when Adventures of Superman John Kent with the Walking Tour of Injustice. Like, let me tell you how great these characters are. What to make these characters
thing. Well,
it's weird.
What does he do in Nightwing? Hey, Nightwing's great. Look at this. It's great. Hopefully Titans doesn't end, but that even had that. He has that feel of these books. And I don't know, it's cool enough, but you start to get tired of that one a little more. And this being in Elseworlds, where people end up saying,
anymore.
Yeah, people end up saying, man, Tom Taylor, the best things he does is the Elseworlds stuff. And I'm starting to not agree with that.
At one point, this was.
Yeah, but not now. And it's okay. It's not horrible. It's disappointing and kind of generic by this point. We'll see how it ends. Maybe it's some cool stuff, but what would you give it overall?
Ultimately, I love the art in this, and I do look forward to the finale because we've been following it this long, even though it's going to, take another 3 months maybe to come out? I don't know. It's probably going to...
It says July 25th, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. July 25th. We'll see what happens there, but I have just lost all interest in this book overall for how the directions comes for the finale, and also all the long delays, just like keeping me out of the flow and the momentum that originally built up. So at this point in time, with the reveals here, which wasn't much, it's just every bit of drama was sucked away to say, I love you, man, and move on. And it's very disappointing. So I'm giving it a 6 out of 10.
Dudes. I thought you'd give it a 6.9, dudes. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 as well. I guess we're two bros, Eric. But with that, what are we going to next?
Poison Ivy, number 13, written by G. Willow Wilson, with art by Marcia Takaro, Gilliam March, Kelly Jones, A.L. Kaplan, Arif Prianto, Jose Villarubia, and Hassan Atsmain Elhal. We have a lot of artists on this Poison Ivy, number 13, which is crazy because
very odd.
On the cover, they say, hey,
Date night. I was going to see if you saw the cover. Did you don't look at covers a lot? Date night, Eric.
I just saw it as I loaded the book up to freaking talk about it. So I'm like, you're really going to freaking try to fool people now that Poison Ivy's back in Gotham and say date night?
This book has been all over the place, right? You end up starting out, Eric, somebody blocked you on Twitter because of this damn book, because you ended up talking about, well, originally this book was about this, and then
trying to murder the world and herself.
It's all over the place, and then you are heading back to Gotham, and what seemed to be, okay, we want to give some people who love Poison Ivy, who are supporting this book, because it did go from a 6 to a 10 to an ongoing, so people are supporting it, so let's give them what they want, a date night issue with Poison Ivy and Harley. Bullshit. That's not what this is, and that is a fucking dupe.
Poison Ivy wakes up next to Harley and takes off for the day.
And seriously, I might be glad it's not that, but I feel bad for people who would see this and go, oh my God, that's awesome. That's what I always like. I'm going to get it. It is nothing of that, and that is bullshit. That it really is. It's bullshit. So you end up going into this, and you said you have all these artists, right? But there's not a reason for it. When you go through this, I
did look forward to Kelly Jones's part, though.
The thing is, that's awesome. If it would have been something that was separated in like a reality type deal, because you got big pointy eared.
You got classic Kelly Jones, Poison Ivy, and Batman. I'm like, it's so good.
When I'm reading this and you're going through, I'm like, okay, we have this art change. Oh my God, are we somewhere? And all I said to myself was, Kelly Jones, you just do Kelly Jones. Like the idea that he's not even attempting to get it to
match
go with the book is so crazy, because it's not anything but what's happening. But I love that. I actually really, really like this art a lot.
It's so funny because when Pamela Isley leaves Harley Quinn and goes out, she's essentially wearing just a green jumpsuit and a jacket over that. When Kelly Jones gets on, now it's a 2-piece and the shirt's all wide open. I'm like, how did this 1-piece become a 2-piece? But you know what? Who cares? You did it, Kelly.
Where's Dancing Mike? This looks like a Xenoscope cover out of nowhere. But when you're going through it, I thought what was happening at first, like you were going to get Lamia spores. Oh my God, why are they affecting me? Like you have a little bit of an altered reality, but you don't. You just play it. It's such a weird play to have. It's weird.
Welcome back, Cotter, because Poison Ivy has come back in town. Everybody wants to come and see her. Selena comes by and says, look, you're on the Batman radar because, you're back in Gotham, and, that's always going to be sus. And even when Batman meets up with her in her old stomping grounds of Robinson Park, and she shows off her new Lamia powers to Batman, and they have their little tussle, who has the bigger dick here, essentially. Such a weird idea because Pamela Isley is allowed to go and be free because she hasn't killed anybody yet. I'm like, motherfucker, look at your goddamn intelligence, because this series started out with her murdering people left and right.
See, Batman just means today.
No.
It doesn't matter that she had plans to pretty much genocide the entire planet.
And the thing is, not everybody that she thought she had killed by the Lamia spores actually died, but there was still quite a body count.
Yeah, there's a body count. There is. And again, at points, you ended up having G. Willow try to it wasn't it's almost like Batman. The gravity killed him, like that sort of play. But
Floronic Man did it because of the Lamia spores mind control. I got you, Pamela.
She's killed a lot of people. And, I mean, seriously, I wish that Batman could read minds because she's got killing on her mind still. I mean, she's not exactly saying, I'm not going to do it again. She kind of doesn't mind doing it again, but in this, it almost reminds me, because she runs into Catwoman then as well. And hey, what's up? Hey, what's up with you? Well, the Bat family's after you. All right, here, you drop this. I'm getting out of here. But you end up having this play of almost like what you had with Chip Zdarsky trying to make sense of what Teenie Howard's doing. The problem is G. Willow Wilson's trying to make sense of what she did in this when she comes back, like you said about, the killing. She did a lot of the killing. She likes the killing.
I like the killing.
I believe that she might.
I like the killing.
But you end up where she also wants to lay low a bit, which is it's funny because it's supposed to be a date night.
At least Catwoman's wearing a disguise of Batman. She's not doing anything.
Yeah, really. And so by the end of this, when she ends up, I'm going to go to Slaughter Swamp. I'm going to figure this shit out, whatever.
Well, it's fine to share. It's fine to share an apartment with my girlfriend, but what if I need some Poison Ivy time? I can't quite do that with Harley Quinn, whether or not we're in a regular apartment or her barge from her series before people forgot that she had a barge. It doesn't matter. I need my own little place to be me. Obviously, I can't do it in Robinson Park because Batman's hanging around being a dick. I'm going to go to Slaughter Swamp to go and be hanging out by myself, maybe say hello to Solomon Grundy every time he's born on a Monday. But ultimately, I'm going to go out there and here's a freaking hunting cabin that's all of Ben. It's all for me. It's going to be great. Oh my God, Waylon Jones, the Killer Croc. He's here. He's taking dibs on this. And now we got to talk about what's going on because I called dibs. He said he had dibs. But
he has dibs. It's his.
But it turns out he can't go back and do sewer things no more because somebody, Lex Luthor's buying up all this real estate in Gotham to build these high-rise apartments, which only the rich can afford, but they won't be able to live there. They'll just hide all the rich stuff. So it's more housing for people, but only the rich people who won't really live there. So you got to stop that if you want this hunting cabin in Slaughter Swamp.
Yeah, and why not say the Organs? First off,
why bring up Lex Luthor? He's in prison right now. Organs are doing shit all over Gotham.
Again, that shows G. Willow Wilson doesn't know shit about shit as what's going on. But my big play, too, is that what this issue really says to me is that, okay, Pam's not going to be around Harley because that might cause problems with the Harley solo issue. So you have date night on the cover, and a lot of this issue is her getting away from being around Harley, setting this up, and that's complete bullshit because I don't think they want to, get involved because things going on with a solo book with Harley, and it wouldn't make sense to some people. But when you go through all this, once you get this, I like Killer Croc in this. I will give you that.
He's okay.
Well, he's funny because he's calling Pamela on her bullshit that we keep calling the idea of having the blue agave. Well, now it's almond milk. And now it's this. And now it's the city and all that.
You one of them hoity-toity bitches. I know that, Pamela.
I love the idea that you end up having G. Willow Wilson almost calling herself out on her bullshit that we've had. But by the end, it doesn't really matter anyway because she's just going to do it. But it just kind of made me laugh a little. But I like when Killer Croc's kind of a good dude, and he kind of ends up being somewhat of a good guy.
Well, I'm just trying to think of the continuity, because right now he's trying to live in an abandoned cabin in Slaughter Swamp, and I'm thinking about the next book that we're going to be talking about, where he's having a freaking fist fight with the faux Joker in the sewers. And I don't know where we are ever with Wayland.
And with that, with the sewer deal, he was pissed off that people were going down the sewers because nobody's paying attention to the other people or doing anything with it. We started out the podcast with Jason Todd. We don't even know if Chip Zdarsky knows what's going on with him
Just the idea, though, of Lex Luthor. I don't understand
Lex Luthor. Why?
I can't go in the sewers because Lex Luthor's buying up property all over Gotham, and they're trying to build high-rise apartments for the rich. I'm like, the fuck does that affect you in the sewers? I don't understand the idea of that Killer Croc, but ultimately it's just here so we can say, look, Killer Croc, if I go and shut down these high-rise apartments, you and I, we stay out of each other's way, and you let me have this cabin. Deal? Deal. And it just leads Ivy back to Gotham, where she's seeing these high-rise apartments and realizing, these aren't for regular people like you and me. These are for the rich folks, and they won't even stay here. This is bullshit. But you know what? I'm going to go in here with a hard hat and an orange vest, make people think that I'm a part of the crew, and then I'm going to find that Lamia spores are doing stuff here, and possibly the Floronic Man has come back to Gotham, is doing shit, and I'm just like...
And I got even the idea that it's going to look like Batman will see this, and it'll all be, oh my God, Ivy's on this. But again, I love where you have all the stuff with these high rises. Why would it? I don't know why it would affect the sewers at all.
Oh, my God, the Oregon place.
But you continuously do this nonsense with, almond milk. Well, the water that takes that. You do that. But when you get to a point where Pam has to do bullshit stuff, she'll just walk onto any fucking work site.
Hey, you one of the new people? Landscaping.
I'm landscaping. All right, well, you guys are in the back. Okay, they're in the back. I'm going to go up this elevator here and check out this. What the fuck are you doing? And then oh my, these are fancy, but Lamia spores.
It's
shit.
It's going to be funny to me, though, too, because the guy, I'm going to say, I think maybe the foreman, I don't know how things work, but he's like, this is impressive, right? It's going to be the tallest residential building in Gotham when it's finished. I'm like, how many floors is it going to have? Because all I could think about was Tom King's 84th floor for that Kite Man story with the Brave and the Mold.
And that was a run-down apartment that was taller than the Empire State Building. I mean, this shit's going to go to the moon, Eric. Batman won't have to jump off the moon. He'll just have to take the elevator in this fucking building
it's a long
down.
Ride.
And the only thing, like, the weird play is, I love that G. Willow Wilson's writing, and like, I got to get somebody who's, some rich guy that people don't, Lex Luthor. Like, did anybody tell her that he wouldn't really do that much like this in Gotham?
Imagine the synergy, though, that you could have going on here where, like, you could do Floronic Man stuff where, like, obviously Pam is here trying to shut something down that she doesn't find right because of rich folks and how they're the wrong people. But she can stop that because the Floronic Man and maybe even Batman will get in the way because the dead bodies start popping. There's no reason not to make this the Oregon place.
The Oregon, yeah. And the whole play, and you mentioned Bruce, and even though, the way, I don't even know what they'd say with Lucius and Bruce or whatever, but Lex just can't just waltz in and just say, hey, I'm going to build all these fucking buildings.
He might be able to. Money talks, Jim. Bullshit walks.
I don't even know what the fuck, what area of downtown Gotham is even around anymore that you can do this shit, but who knows? I mean, we got the Arkham Tower, we got the Oregon place, we got the Lex Luthor suites. I don't know. This bullshit.
The Oregon hotels?
Oregon hotels. We got the Growler shit going on. Oh my goodness gracious. What else don't we have? And all of that going down. Lex Luthor is a boss. I said to you, this guy is in prison. He's running more shit from that prison. What's going to happen when Cal finds out? Oh my God. You're working on the sly and buildings. It's nonsense.
But the funniest part about all of this, though, for the idea that Pam wants her own Slaughter Swamp abandoned cabin to be her own self in, away from Harley Quinn now that she's back in Gotham City, and with her lady love, which leads her down the path of taking down high-rise apartments that aren't for real people. They're just a tomb for wealth. But ultimately, we figure out, oh my God, the Floronic Man's back, but also next, Night Terror. So you're not even going to be dealing with what we have set up here because it's Night Terror stuff.
Or maybe she'll end up sending it. I don't know. But even when you're going, because one of the big things in this, and I love this throwaway line, because when Pam left, she did have an underground garden paradise, right? She had that all going on, and you end up where Killer Croc just says, and your little underground garden didn't help. You left it rot and clog up the pipes, and then Pam go, I guess I did leave without cleaning up. And then we're even revealed that road trip was like a year. She ended up talking about that. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Well, what the fuck? But there you go. Here you go. Poison Ivy, everybody. But yeah, we'll go to Night Terrors, and I think that will probably be bullshit too, but we'll see. We'll give it a chance.
I'm telling you, I really thought that this was an interesting book when it started out with a status quo change
all over the
Pamela
place now,
Isley.
right?
But ever since it decided like it was going to be more than 8 issues, like they ran out of story, and all we've been doing with the Lamia stuff that makes no sense now going forward. It's all about the Pharaonic Man coming back, his connection to Pamela Isley. We have no word about the Gardener and what she's up to since we had to force that connection anyway to bring her into Pamela Isley's origin story.
She would have been down there probably taking care of that garden paradise, but that's
with her like grass dogs.
The grass dogs. And so all of this, it just makes me laugh because all I keep thinking about is you got blocked by that person on Twitter because you said that, Poison Ivy can be a villain or a hero. She kind of ends up doing some sus things. And no way, no, you're blocked. Men are upset about that, and they can't deal with it. I
didn't get a response. I just got blocked.
It's not as if, but that was the response before you replied. But the idea of all this is not exactly on the up and up fully in this anyway, because it's that gray area. It is that she has her own morality. She has her own ideas. She's going to act on them. And it's right in her way. And it might kind of rub, Batman the wrong way, or she might kill some people, but they might be eating the blue agave. That means they're sus. Or the almond milk that I know you drink, so I love this almond milk. Enemy number 1 there. But
dairy hurts my tum-tum.
He's got the flower on his face. Oh, shit. It looks like, maybe Pharaonic Man's back. I like, too, that you have to just mention as a passing. I called Janet over there at the Harleys. She's still there? Okay.
Like, why do we have to bring up Janet and the fact that she's staying with Harley? I need you to pack up the van for me because I'm going to Slaughter Swamp.
Yeah, Slaughter Swamp it is. And oh, no. I love now. You want to have some fun? Fuck that. You have Killer Croc and her, like, they're roommates. This is the odd couple. Like, have some fun here. But it's like,
you paint a line down the middle, you stay on your side.
It'd be awesome. And you see Killer Croc, he looks and he's like painted himself into a corner. He can't leave now and he's pissed. He just crashes through the wall. Like, you could have all that fun, but you don't. But instead, you have 6 pages, it seems, of getting this deal going up. And I love the idea that Croc's like, what's the deal? Oh, I give up where I'm already living and fine with because you're going to go and do something for the nonsense. But he did have a sandwich. Look at that sandwich. He had to make it up there. Yeah, great. But what would you give this?
Ultimately, I think even though we have a bunch of artists in this book, they all look great, even though they don't complement each other for the style that the book is going for. It's just weird, like, tonal shifts in the way that the book looks. But I think each individual one looks fine on its own.
Doesn't matter.
The story, though, like always, is the problem in this book. You have date night on the cover. You don't even get Harley Quinn except for a panel as Pamela's getting out of bed. You go off to do more bullshit that doesn't matter for Pamela Isley, whether it makes sense or not for the overall continuity of Gotham City. The idea that Batman gives her a pass because she hasn't killed anybody when this book was full of her murdering people left and right in the beginning of the series.
He's been gone for a while, Eric. He didn't hear it. Nobody told him.
And we're back to Pharaonic Man stuff, which the story can't get itself out of its own way, doing this whole Lamia Spore stuff, and now it's also Night Terrors. There's this, it's just nonsense tacked on top of nonsense when I want a good Pamela Isley / Poison Ivy book because I thought the story initially was good. It's fallen so goddamn far from where it started. It's just fallen so much flat. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
I'm giving it a regular 5 out of 10 as well.
What the hell is even that?
What the hell is even that? And it's funny, too, because if you went with the idea where, in my mind, they're like, okay, Marcelo Takara, you're usually the artist on, so you're on. Hey, Gillian March, you want to do this thing? We're going to have a date night, and they're going to go all over the place, so we want different artists to show different times of the date night, have some fun. Kelly Jones, A.L. Kaplan. Oh, by the way, we're not doing date night now. Let's just do shit. And it just felt weird why you would have that like, yeah, there's backup artists at times. 4 artists on this for no apparent reason at all. And it just is very odd. But everyone does a good job, like you said.
Yeah.
It just is weird and just jarring as you go. But I always get a kick out of Kelly Jones' art. So was when Batman shows up. That's when I was like,
years larger than life.
You're just doing your deal. You be you. It's definitely just him being him. So, but we'll go to the last book of the night, one that I have not been enjoying, but Eric is holding out hope for. What is it, Eric?
The Joker, The Man Who Stopped Caring So Much, number 9, written by Matthew Rosenberg, with art by Carmine D.G. Domenico, Romeo Fajardo Jr., and Tom Napolitano, with backup by Matthew Rosenberg again, Francisco Francavilla, and Tom Napolitano on art. And in this issue, we have an all-out balls-to-the-wall battle between the faux Joker and Killer Croc for just, I don't know, the idea is like, You have besmirched the good name of my Solomon Grundy. I must take offense to this, sir, and take your crocodile ass out. Where it just becomes this back and forth about the idea about who's the real Joker, who's not the real Joker, where are faux Jokers, what we believe to be the faux Joker so far, takes out Killer Croc and realizes, well, if the real Joker's coming back and he's going to have a lot to say about me being here, he already tried to kill me once, I need to create an army. While the real Joker comes to town, he's like, I need to create an army too. So it comes to the War of the Jokers. The big setup for it, though, here.
Yeah, that's what we get. We get Jason, too, where he ends up getting, rescued from him going off to
Ravager,
prison.
which is cool.
It's Ravager, though. I don't know why. I mean, if we're going to play the deal, she's on Stormwatch now. This is pretty low-level thing, if that's the case.
She cares about Jason.
Yeah, but I don't think she'd even know about this if there was more synergy, but there's not. It's fine.
It's a weird thing because we had the whole big deal where it was brought up where in the Unkillables of the Deceased, the second story of Deceased, where like Jason Todd and Ravager were a couple, and everybody I think was like, this is a great idea. In the main universe, I think we had a few issues here and there. I don't remember what the book was of them kind of hanging out and they're like, oh, it's cool. They're taking this from there. I don't remember what that was. If that was like an urban legend story or something along the line. But it happening here, a continuation, it's something I do want to see, and I do enjoy those two being together. I'm like, are we getting the Outlaws back together, even though she's on the Stormwatch? Or is this an open casting call for more members of Stormwatch with Jason Todd?
Again, that's a different writer and things like that, and I don't see any synergy with shit going on. So I think that this is just Matthew Rosenberg being Matthew Rosenberg. And what I mean by that, fucking sucking, because I can't stand this book. I can't stand fucking reading any pages of it, and I'm being nice. I cannot. There is no progression here. You end up having the Joker, who we think might be the real one, heading to Gotham. He's going to make a team, but in the meantime, the faux Joker, who might be the real Joker, he's getting things together. Nothing really happens, and by the end, oh my, Joker war. But the idea of Jason Todd even being in this book seems silly anymore, because that's not what we're here for. Joker is the deal on the cover, and I don't even know who stopped laughing anyway, which is the title of it. But overall, you have jokes like, hey, this guy was fucking a crocodile in the zoo. Hey, he had reptile dysfunction. I'm like, go fuck yourself. I can't
you
stand
say
it.
that, and then they use the joke later on that you use all the time that you love.
Yeah, but again, in this, it's not funny. Plus, you do have him use Scarface and ventriloquist, and he fucks up at the beginning by saying big, but then he does say the G's with the B. I thought he had something there. The only thing that I actually like about this whole issue, except the end, Eric, is actually the backup, which was the best backup that we've had in this entire series, and it means nothing. But it was the best one. It was the best one. This is the backup here with Jim Gordon being so obsessed with the Joker that he ends up thinking somebody jaywalking might be the Joker. That's hilarious. I love it.
Have you checked out any of the episodes of the HBO Harley Quinn animated series?
I've only seen the first couple issues.
Okay,
episodes
well, in that,
of the main thing.
You have a very dumb, driven Jim Gordon. The thing is, I feel like that's this Jim Gordon for the idea that the Joker is killed. And it's a weird situation, too, for the backup, because the Joker's killed seemingly by Batgirl, who dropped him into, the river by mistake. And Jim Gordon on the idea that the Joker always comes back, or B, he knows that Barbara Gordon is Batgirl and can't believe that his daughter killed the Joker. He has this obsession built up with him where he believes that everything that's going to happen is going to be the Joker coming back. So he loses his mind.
I love where he retired. It's good.
But in order to get into the mind of the Joker, he has to become the Joker. So even though so Jim Gordon in our backup becomes the actual Joker. I'm like, this is an amazing little. If you actually tied this into a whole Elseworlds, maybe a one shot, that'd be great.
Here's the thing about it, because it's such a throwaway at the end, right? Hey, these don't mean anything, but actually ties in so well with that first Joker series where it was Jim Gordon going off to get the Joker. Now he's there, and so. It's the best thing that Matthew Rosenberg's done in this entire series. So I actually see that he can do something that I like, right? But in the regular book, it's just, it's surface level, oh my God, look at this. But at the end, he didn't really get any further on what is this going to end up being.
Well, you are building an army for this whole thing, which is kind of cool.
What is that going to do for the overall deal? We really just want to see who's the Joker and who's not. Now I'm still sticking with what I said before. Whoever lives is the real Joker. You're just going to go with it, and they're going to play the idea, like in these backups, that it doesn't really matter who. They're even saying it in some of the dialogue. It doesn't matter who the Joker really is.
I still think it kind of matters.
No, to everybody else, they say, we don't even know who the Joker is. You're always here. We're scared of you, but nobody knows who you are. So at the end, the idea of why there's always these Jokers or whatever is because nobody really knows. And whoever has the clown makeup on at the end, that's the Joker. We go with it. I guarantee you that. But this is an ongoing series. How does this end in a way that then you continue with? It just doesn't.
I don't know, because the thing is, I don't know how they're going to go, because the idea of the Joker, the man who stopped laughing in an ongoing series obviously has to stop at some point, because how long can you go with that? But the ongoing story of it has to change at a certain point, because it will get stale.
I don't think it will. I think it gets canceled. I think that when we find out that, I actually think that we're going to find out that this book is over in either like September or October, that we'll end up getting, some of the solicits.
But
and it'll be
whether
over.
or not it's canceled or not, or it just ends because it needs to end, you can't continue the story forever, because it's already been pretty heavily padded with trying to keep it going as far as it is right now. But in this issue, when you have the Joker finally back from LA to Gotham, and because he's got a bit of a fussing and a feuding going on with this other Joker, setting up an army of bad guys to go against the other. It is funny to me when you have like KG Beast, Crazy Quilt, Ratcatcher, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, Killer Moth, Clayface, and Zaz and Mad Hatter, all of these big names going with the regular Joker that we all know and love. And then with the idea that the faux Joker gets a hold of the ventriloquist and Scarface, like, I need you to go out there and get the worst of the worst. I need to build an army to go against this Joker who's coming to town and trying to take my name and my life. When we get to that part of the book, and you have just an old man with a shotgun, a person who looks like a juggalo, and just a gorilla that they stole from the zoo who they're calling jackanapes because they don't know what a jackanapes is. That's pretty damn funny to me.
I didn't think it was funny at all. I was annoyed by it. I was confused at first the way the progression
he does
goes,
have Solomon Grundy too, though.
Yeah, in that.
That's a heavy hitter.
And that's why I think that he's actually the real Joker now, because you're setting up these odds, and that'll be the deal. But again, I don't think it matters at all by the end. I did like the backup of this whole deal. Most of the
and Waffles is alive.
The scores, Lippy. The scores end up, they're plummeting, and the sales are as well. This was at one point, it perplexed me why it seemed like it was selling so well. It's not selling anymore, and I think that it will be canceled. And Matthew Rosenberg never had a real story. I mean, the idea that he had a concept, Vogue Joker, we have done shit about it. 9 issues is way too long to fuck around with this nonsense. And so by the end of seeing, they're going to go to war with them, I'm like,
I look forward to that.
Know what's going on.
And also the idea of Jason Todd teamed up with Ravager if we're going to be like the little, like the fly in the ointment.
But what are they going to do?
I want to see what he's going to do, because you're going to be faced with 2 Jokers.
But are they going to go against the Jokers? Do you think that Jason will strike? Then why wouldn't Batman? Why wouldn't Damian? Why wouldn't Tim Drake? I mean, this is nonsense that this is so condensed that it's Jason Todd. Oh, thanks.
Well, like you, Jason Todd has a vendetta.
This is 2 Jokers ripping through Gotham. It's beyond just a vendetta.
And it might get bigger. But right now, these are our main goodies with Batgirl.
It's not going to get bigger.
When Ravager talks about what's going on with Jason Todd and tells Ravager where to find him and stuff like that, she says the good-looking Batgirl told me this, and she she owes me $20 because I knew you weren't going to stop this whole vendetta you have. I want to think that's Steph. What do you think is the good-looking Batgirl in Ravager's eyes?
I just think it's Barbara. I think Barbara was the one. And again, who knows? But again, if it was Steph, you would then get, but there's so many things that would be involved. And when you get this war, you say, I'm looking forward to it. If it's legit, it ain't going to be much of a war. I mean, you're going to have an old guy get slaughtered. You're going to have a juggalo. He's dead. And the Sabe's just going to run off. And we waited 9 issues for that.
But we also have Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, but again, Solomon Grundy versus all these other
Scarface?
Solomon Grundy's dead.
How dare he's got a Tommy gun.
Yeah, he's got a Tommy. I see everybody else with guns and worse, so I don't know.
I'm telling you, I want to know how the odds are. Does Jason Todd maybe go with the faux Joker because he thinks that this guy's the real Joker, so we even the odds with Ravager and Red Hood? I don't know, but I'm having some fun with this because I look forward to the idea of how it works.
If Jason Todd goes with any Joker, fuck him. That's just like Batman going with the Riddler and the jokes and riddles. He would go with neither. If he ends up teaming up with any of these assholes, whether he thinks he's right or not, or real or whatnot, that is complete and utter bullshit. He should just go in, and the whole Bat family should come in and just arrest everybody. Off they go. But I did like the backup. After 9 issues and to get this where it's, gang war. And
I just feel like it's finally getting back on track with something.
Back on track. It never was on track. That's
just with Joker being in L.A. making jokes and fighting Manhunter felt very out of place for everything that had been set up previously. now that Joker's back in town and the faux Joker's out and about, kicking ass and taking names, and that's not just being fed rat juice by Salmon Grundy in the sewers, it feels like it's finally building some kind of momentum once again.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, because when we end, we're just like, okay, I'm going to get that guy. And that's what we've had for issue after issue. You just had to get
But now we can actually get the guy.
I don't think that we'll ever do anything. I've said it all along, and he hasn't yet. So we'll see what happens. But I think it's going to be and the idea, the big thing you wanted was, is he dead? Is he whatever? I think that's all pushed aside too, and we'll just go with this war thing. And I thought it fucking sucked. But that's just me. What would you give it?
I would give this a 6.5 out of 10. I think the art's pretty good all the way through. And like I said before, the idea that the momentum is finally building back up again for the first time in months, it feels like. I look forward to that because I want to know the mystery of the faux Joker. I want to see the Joker with all these crazy Gotham characters coming together, and I want to see what Jason Todd and Ravager will do now they're teaming up together for this upcoming war.
Yeah, again, I'm not interested in any of this bullshit. I think that it's just going to be the backup I really like, but I feel weird giving it a good score because we didn't negate anything from the other bullshit ones before, and I still hated everything. So I'm just a 3 out of 10. And I think it sucks. But with all that, that's me. And again, though, like I said, even sites that give everything a 10 are giving this 6s and 7s. It's really to a point where I don't think anybody's reading it anymore. I think everybody's bailed on it. Maybe they'll read it in trade. Maybe they read it in the app. But I don't think this is any bit of anything going on that's interesting one bit. So we'll see how it ends. We'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it. But again, it's just another war in Gotham. We have a million of them, but this one's. I would have rather have had it out of Gotham so that you couldn't sit there and say, well, where the fuck is everybody else?
And everybody else might show up if this thing gets out of hand.
I would doubt that in this book that anybody would show up other than just Jason and Ravager. I think it would get too...
Well, I didn't expect Manhunter or Ravager either.
Well, again, Manhunter's bullshit. I'm talking about like Batman or Superman. Like if Batman shows up at the Bat Family, it's over. They're done. And so you're not going to that. He's playing bullshits. He's just fucking stringing along because if you end the story, the book ends. He's doing that classic of, keep moving this slowly.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, so I think that, unfortunately, that's what's affected this book for 9 fucking issues now. It's been that long, and we really don't have anything. Finally, Joker's back in Gotham for the faux Joker, but we almost, 9 months of that bullshit. But all in all, I like the backup, though. That was one of the better things he's done, but I just don't like him. I think he's a hack. But what is your book of the week?
My book of the week is Batman number 136.
Yeah, mine's Flash number 800. Eric is not a guy who likes fun, so he didn't like that. But here we go with what we are talking about. I'll give you reasons
why, though.
Yeah, what we are talking about next week. The books we'll talk about, Eric. I can't believe one better than the other one, because we only have 3. We have 3 books that we're talking about next week, 2 of which will be on the Patreon Spotlight. So if you want to actually listen to a good chunk of the books, please go over to patreon.com/Weird Science. You can help us out. But if you do go over, you can get the $5 level for a free 7-day trial. And that's where the Spotlight is. So you can go listen to a whole week of shows for free. See if you like it, and then by the end, you can then sign up to go forward and help us out. But you can always check these out. Here are the books. Batman Incorporated number 9. Little Joker Inc.
Yeah.
That's everything that's coming up with Joker. But we're actually enjoying that more than a lot of other people. We have Green Lantern number 2.
Why doesn't Batman show up, Jim?
Well, because he is there, I think, and also because it was spelled out that he's missing and all that. At least that makes sense, right? And I still think that he's Wingman.
How do you know that Batman's not in a parallel dimension at this point in time, fighting for his life and losing his hand?
He might be, but that isn't spelled out. But there's also other characters that once the if there's one Joker who causes problems, that's going to have people coming out of the woodwork to stop. 2 Jokers, there's no way.
Well, everybody believes the Joker's in L.A. right now.
Well, I don't know. He's probably very well seen going down and blowing up every convenience store that he's in. There has to be a bit of a trail going, and there might be some surveillance going. So you have that. I've seen where they have guys who try to, they kill a hooker and they put it in the back of the truck, and you got 80 million pictures of this nonsense going on. But
they should have blown it up.
There you go. But yeah, so we have Green Lantern number 2, Jeremy Adams. Now I lost my voice again. doing this with these assholes writing these books? What happens? This is why DC doesn't like us. It's all me. Green Lantern number 2. Well, here's the deal. I don't like it. I'm going to tell you. Green Lantern number 2, though, Jeremy Adams. I liked the first issue more than Eric did, but I think we both agree it was a nice way to kind of reset things and get moving. Hopefully things start to go, and I want to see what's up with that drunk-ass Sinestro. Drowning his sorrows, drinking
just because
it up.
A man is sitting in a bar doesn't make him drunk.
Drunk-ass We'll see. We'll see what's going on. I do believe Kilowog shows up in this issue, so that'd be kind of cool. And we have Spirit World number 2. Continuing the We Are Legends stuff that we really did enjoy. We were very shocked and surprised.
I had no idea.
We liked all of those. I liked the Vigil the most, but Spirit World second, and then City Boy.
Did I like City Boy the most or Spirit World? I don't remember now. I think maybe Spirit World.
I think maybe Spirit World, but boy, that City Boy is good for the songs. It really is. So next week, though, 2 of these books will be. So that means we got 1 book on the regular show.
And a $25 do-or-die pull list.
And yeah, we were talking we'll do our $25 do-or-die pull list now that we're kind of settled a little.
Couldn't do it last week because we had to give it some time, but now we can finally do it.
I mean, I said that we'd do it at the end of June as we go into night tears, but I mean, we have 1 book on the regular show. We might as well do it next week. So we'll see how that is. But again, if you want to get the full experience, not even just the Spotlight, but a lot of other shows, including reading clubs like a Hellboy reading club or a Walking Dead or even an Injustice, which we talked about earlier. I do an Injustice reading club as well as a bunch of other shows. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/weirdscience, and also early access to the podcast each and every week. Check that out. Also, check out our reviews at Weird Science, DCcomics.com, I think it is. I don't know. DC thinks that we're stopped reviewing them. That is not the case, so we'll keep going with that. And also, please check out the stuff I'm doing over at YouTube as well, Weird Science Comics, where I do reviews and little editorial stuff, Eric, a little soapbox stuff. So go and check all of that stuff out. And also, Wakazashi's Tea House. Check it all out, Eric. We have everything.
Check it out.
That is it. Check it out. What is it? Top that. I thought you were going to say top that. 2 bros. Oh, my. But there it is, Eric. We are done. What do we say at the end of the podcast?
Everybody have a great week. Keep it weird. And we'll see you in 7.
See you in 7.
69, dudes!
The hell is even that?
You have stolen my dreams.
I like the killing.